relax, and keep your eyes to the skies.
Hey, greetings folks, and welcome to S4, where we talk about the serious issues involving paranormal and current events, coming to you live from the S4 headquarters, and I should say the FMP team headquarters, here in the heart of the Cascade Mountains in the studio in Cape Horn, Washington. So tonight it is January 31st, and we're talking all things Bigfoot. But we're also talking a focus on the alien connection, which, well, we'll talk about that. So people are seeing large orbs and sometimes alien craft in connection with Bigfoot sightings. Is there a connection? We'll see. So, admin note real quick. There is no show next week. Because, why? Why, Cole? Why is there no show next week?
It's Super Bowl.
It's Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
And I kind of figure everyone's going to be, regardless of which team you were rooting for, that didn't make it, obviously.
Shut up.
Damn Seahawks. Everybody's going to be watching Super Bowl for the commercials.
Oh, yeah.
At least we are.
Bud.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's playing. Who's playing, Cole?
The Buccaneers and the... Who else playing the Buccaneers? I have no fucking clue.
I don't either. You know more than I do. So the Buccaneers, yay! The Buccaneers are going to win.
No, screw the Buccaneers.
Oh, okay.
Buccaneers.
Okay.
Go Raiders!
I'm just there for the chips.
Is it the Raiders?
Huh?
No, it's the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Oh, we all suck. But anyway,
Anybody but Tom Brady can win.
I'm there for the chips and dip and the Super Bowl commercials. So there is no show next week.
We're
February.
going to have 3 different types of wings.
We are.
We are having
I'm there.
so many
Okay.
wings.
So yes, the S4 crew is having a Super Bowl party. I just say that out loud though. February 14th, we are doing Men in Black.
Oh, Izzy says it's the Buccaneers and the Caucasians.
Oh, okay.
I think that's their new name.
No,
The Chiefs?
Caucasians.
Yes.
Okay, you know what? I'm rooting for the Chiefs. $20 on the Chiefs. So the February 14th is our next show. It's going to be Men in Black. I don't think we've ever done a show. If we did a show on the Men in Black, I think it was in the first couple of years that we were running S4. And then, of course, the 21st is the Roundtable. And February 28th, we are going to do Black Eyed Children.
Yay.
Yay.
Before we really start, ladies and gentlemen, we are running with new equipment. Barry, can you do a sound check for me quick?
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check.
Perfect. Arnold, can you do one?
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check.
Okay. And Joe.
Check.
Awesome.
No, you got to say pointy stick, Joe. Go on. Pointy stick. All right, so next up we have, so we are doing a fundraiser. Why are we doing a fundraiser? Well, because the FMP team is going for high-tech gear. What?
We're doing it to raise funds.
We're doing it to raise funds for a drone, first and foremost. We want a high-tech drone. Why do we want a drone? We want a drone because we want one with FLIR, we want one with thermal, and we want one that is going to have a good eyes in the sky for the security of the team, as well as finding Bigfoot and chasing UFOs, maybe. So, yeah, you can find the fundraiser in the FMP group. Go to Facebook and look for the Forest Moon Paranormal group. Jump into it. You will be approved. We also have our applications available now for any locals that want to be on the FMP team. So, Cole and I sat down. We went over with a fine-tooth comb what we want for a team member. And we are going to be picky. Yes. So,
and to be clear, you will be approved as long as your name isn't need a vacation, talk to me. Right, Kayla?
Sorry.
Yeah.
There's like 900 people that come in there, and every once in a while I'm just like, oh,
that's a different.
I met that person.
That's a different group. Anyway, oh yeah. So Bigfoot. So I've been watching Bigfoot documentaries all week, and
so you're tainted.
Oh, my brain's dead. I had to take breaks with terrorism documentaries and shit. So, yeah, I bounce between paranormal documentaries and homeland security issues. Those are my two main topics that I work on. So, when you're thinking Bigfoot, what do you think of? What do you think when you hear the word Bigfoot? Anyone?
A hairy ape.
Anyone? Hello?
I personally think of interdimensional being.
Okay.
And that is here to save the planet and is like the Green Man.
We'll talk about that. We'll get to that side. Arnold.
I'm more along the line of something that's, a huge mammal that survived in the woods, hidden from people, but not that well hidden because everybody knows about them all over the world. There's definitely something there. People see something. People hear something. They leave physical traces. They leave footprints and snapped off trees. So there is definitely something physical there. But as far as some of the things like Barry mentioned, the interdimensional, I'm kind of on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, baloney, but how many stories have we heard about tracks going out into a snow-covered field that just stop?
Absolutely.
Or people saying they saw it there and they were watching it and all of a sudden it blinked out, gone. So on those stories, I'm still on the fence. It's possible, but I haven't been convinced yet. But there is something there.
I think cousin.
Casually.
He's your cousin? What do you think, Arnold?
I was really leaning more, towards a real thing, a hairy ape type thing, and till I was looking around before the show tonight and looked up some stuff online and different things and read some stuff about from the time Native Americans had seen them to other farmers and stuff way back when, and putting some type of UFO coming out of the sky and they being with that. Plus, when I've been around where we've either smelled it or heard it, and all of a sudden you don't see anything, you don't hear anything anymore, you can't find any tracks. That kind of leads me to, like Barry was talking of, interdimensional. Who knows? I mean, there's something out there, but I'm like right in the middle, but leaning more towards interdimensional.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at what we know. I think the best evidence we've got, and some would disagree, would be the Patterson-Gimlin film. I believe it's
Agreed.
valid. I believe it's valid. They did polygraphs. I was talking to my father-in-law. In fact, we were talking about it last night or the night before, and he hadn't really looked at it. He hadn't really analyzed it like we do. But he thought he heard something about Gimlin on his... No, it'd be Patterson. Gimlin's still alive, and he's here. Mm-hmm. He's actually here in Washington. But Patterson, on his deathbed, my father-in-law thought he had recanted and said it was all a hoax. Yes. Now, I haven't heard that. I still don't think it's a hoax. If it was a hoax, on his deathbed, Gimlin still goes out and lectures about it. So either they didn't agree, or maybe Patterson got threatened. Who knows? But I mean, if he got threatened and he was dying anyway, why would it matter if he got threatened unless he threatened his family?
Yeah.
But that's my other issue. Why are you going to threaten someone over Bigfoot? Seriously, what is so secretive and so mysterious and so we've got to keep Bigfoot classified that we got to threaten people?
The point is, why threaten Patterson? He had a film. That's all he had. He released it. Everybody's seen it. What else is he going to do?
Right. Absolutely.
Why threaten him?
But I'm still one of those believers. I still believe.
Conjecture saying that he was threatened because no one knows if he was threatened.
Nobody knows if he was threatened or not. No. And again, I haven't heard the Patterson deathbed recant. I haven't. Mm-hmm. And I'm still going to be one of those that, I'm sorry, but in the 1960s when they filmed it, they could have come up with a costume, sure. You know, the Hollywood industry, whatever. Somebody could have come up with a costume. Now, that is possible. I'm not saying that's not possible.
At the time, the best costume that they had was for the original Planet of the Apes movie.
Apes.
Right.
And the guys that did that said, we couldn't have produced what's in that film in 1969.
Mm-hmm. My other part with that is the way the creature moves. A human's not going to be able to move like that.
Nope.
Right. Even though that they did say that there was a handicapped guy that got in the suit and did that, but he was a shorter kind of guy. And I just think that, you know, in a way, you know how disinformation goes when things start going that they don't want you to know about Bigfoot being around. Same thing as they don't like you knowing about giants being around.
Right.
Or any of these other things.
If it
that
goes
are out here.
If it goes against the mainstream and they don't want you to be one of these, people that thinks outside the box, and they're going to try to shut you up.
Exactly.
So we have the Patterson Gimlin film. I believe hands down that was a valid film. Any other films that you see a black blob moving at best. Or you see a blurry something or other. And we'll get to that, because I want to bring that up a little bit more later.
What about the 1951 Eric Sharpton photographs at Everest?
That's interesting.
Everest.
Yeah, where there was like a mile and a half of track, and then it led to nothing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that and we'll get to that too. Because there's a lot of that. You see that at Lake Taite, where you'll see tracks going into
But that
a
was
field.
like one of the first documented cases of tracks to nowhere in a place that no one should have ever been able to go.
And, again, we see that here. We see that muddy tracks going into a field. Gone. You see, and I have to laugh at the skeptics, because the skeptics say, he climbed up a tree. Really? Where's the tree? There's no tree. It's an open field. There's no tree. Oop. An airplane swooped down and picked him up. No, it doesn't work that way.
You can just jump really, really far.
Right.
And then wings come out and he flies.
Yes, Bigfoot with wings.
Like
that
a
explains
giant
it.
flying squirrel.
That's a dragonfoot.
Yeah. Dragonfoot.
A dragonfoot. It's a new species. Yeah. So we have tracks. I've seen tracks. I've personally seen tracks. In fact, I have a plaster casting of a 1 foot track at my house that I got from Tyler. What?
I have an issue here. We all just laughed about Bigfoot having wings, but there are instances where the tracks just stop. There are instances where, there is no possible way that they just stopped.
That leads to interdimensional.
No, okay. Yeah. But that's feeding your own agenda.
No, there's no agenda. Okay, explain it then. Explain it. Let's hear your thoughts.
Why couldn't he have wings?
Really?
Yeah, I'm honestly asking you, what makes you think it's not possible for him to have wings hidden within the fur?
That would be awkward.
Why?
It just would.
Well, we got Mothman.
Only because you are very adamant about him being an interdimensional creature.
Could have gotten beamed up, kidnapped,
Yeah, there's all kinds of possibilities.
No, we're getting to that too later. That'll go with the alien side. Guys, I have a hard time with him being alien. Even though we have heard the theory that there is an alien Bigfoot. I can't remember what Keith called him.
That's a different name.
Wawara.
I can't see that.
Wawara.
They can't be the same fucking species. I'm sorry. Fran.
What,
one's from here,
Bigfoot?
one's from there. Fran.
Well, no, and there's a difference in them, because the Wawara is 6 to 7 foot tall, whereas your normal Bigfoot. Yeah. But the Bigfoot is 8 to 9 foot. The walrus is shorter and they're brown. And they're more aggressive.
Skunk ape.
No, skunk ape's in the south, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But all I'm saying
Because-
is we can't discount the fact that it is a possibility that they could fly.
But
True.
wouldn't you see flying...
Until you get one, you don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Until we get one, all
bumblebee shouldn't be
possibilities
allowed.
are open.
A bumblebee, by the laws of physics, can't fly. Yet they do.
But it does. Yeah.
Well, if Bigfoot flies, we're
Little
in
yellow
deep
and black.
trouble.
That's it. I'm looking for flying Bigfoot videos now. goddammit.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you.
So, on that note, though, you do find the disappearing tracks on occasion. You don't see them all the time. Maybe those are the Bigfoot. They do get abducted by aliens.
Or they float.
They all float down
They all
here.
float. Okay, there
They'll
is
float,
actually a
they'll
large
float.
amount of people that believe that Bigfoot is actually a spirit. So, if you go into the realm of a Bigfoot possibly being a spirit, well, just like how sometimes you can see handprints or whatever from a spirit.
Okay, stop.
you'd be able-
Stop. Just stop. We got to look at the evidence first. Let's look at what we know. What we know is we have tracks.
Right.
We have plaster casts. What we know is people have found hair. What we know is they do tree knocks. They make howling noises. They smell like a wet dog or a wet goat, or in some cases a wet buck.
Gnarly.
Have any of you guys heard? So on 3 different videos by 3 different people, they talked about eggshells. Have you guys heard anything about Bigfoot liking eggshells?
I have not heard of
Eggshells?
that.
Yeah.
I haven't
I
heard
am.
He's got to get his protein somewhere. And if there isn't any
Everything
little
will eat an
rabbits
egg.
running
Well,
around,
who's the asshole who's leaving just the eggshells?
I don't know. There's one guy on a video.
Why wouldn't you give him the whole egg? That's just me.
It is.
you don't want to
Yeah,
eat the shell.
well-
It's crunchy.
And I was laughing at this one because this one guy was just completely terrified, and he forgot his gun. Like, why are you going to go Bigfoot and at least without some kind of weapon? I'm sorry, I normally do, and I know most people that go up in the mountains do go out at least with a knife. He didn't take nothing.
But it's not for Bigfoot.
He hates it. Just-
No, he was going to check his game camps.
Okay.
He was looking for Bigfoot, and he was going to get the SD cards from his game camps. So he knew there was a possibility there might be a Bigfoot out there if he was looking for him. So, dumbass.
Actually, Bigfoot hit the news. Bigfoot hit the news about a week and a half ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, pray tell.
Because Oklahoma proposed that they open a Bigfoot hunting season.
Yes. That did happen.
Are you serious?
Seriously. So
Yeah.
Bigfoot's been in the news for a little while there for Oklahoma hunting season.
Well, that's not cool.
Alright, let's just shoot him and see what happens.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
How many hunters are going to
Well, I
die?
think that whole thing boils down to a guy figured out a way to get more money out of people.
Yeah.
You have to buy a license.
Yeah.
And they're probably laughing, saying there's no such thing, and people are just giving us money. So there you go.
$1,000 for your Bigfoot hunting license. Yeah.
Alright, and do you know how bad that's gonna suck when all of a sudden somebody brings in a Bigfoot head and they're like, look at what I got, guys! Yeah, because the last time I heard, if there was the possibility of an animal existing that was going extinct, because you could only find a specific amount of them,
Right.
killing them is probably not the best idea.
Yeah.
Well, and then we have one county in Washington State, I think it's Skamania County, that actually outlaws hunting
Yeah, they're a
Bigfoot.
protected animal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I believe Canada. I think there's a province of Canada that does the same thing. I think
Yeah.
Alberta.
Didn't
maybe?
Oregon do that?
There's a part of Oregon, yeah. It's like I can't remember what county, but yeah.
Which leads to the next question. So, if they're willing to protect Bigfoot, yet he doesn't exist, and make a hunting season in Oklahoma, obviously. If he doesn't exist,
Yeah.
I reckon parts of the government are saying he does exist. There's also an FBI investigation in a Bigfoot issue, which turned out to be not an issue. It wasn't a Bigfoot. And that was back in the 70s, I want to say. So we know we've got tracks, we got hair, we got sounds. I've knocked back and had them repeat knocks back. We have gifting sites. Oh, wait, we have rock throwing.
And rock stacking.
And rock throwing. What?
And rock stacking.
And rock, well, I have a hard time with that one because I know humans are rock stack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless you see them stacking the rocks, you don't know who did it.
Yeah,
No.
but can't we say the same thing about all this other evidence? Is that nobody's actually seen him do it, right? I mean, and if they have, it's one out of every...
What do you mean, tree knocking?
Yeah, you've heard it.
Yeah, and there was nobody else up where we were. It wasn't a human doing
That
it.
you know of.
Yeah, because honestly, like that, Bert Kreschner has a story about that where his dad tells him he's talking to an owl and he starts hooting across the lake. And then Bert's daughter pulls out a thing of binoculars and is looking across the lake, and there's another old guy on the other side of the lake hooting back. So...
So what happens if you're knocking on a tree and somebody else is walking in the woods? Not saying that Bigfoot doesn't exist or anything, but somebody else that's knocking in the woods goes, "Holy crap, it's a Bigfoot!" and starts knocking back to you.
Because this was in my backyard where there's nobody else on Haystack. And I know that for a fact.
Okay.
You can't.
Huh?
You can't know that for a fact. Haystack connects to NR15 or NR17.
Huh?
The roads connect all the way to Darrington.
No. It's washed out. There is no way to... It's washed out on the back side of Haystack. You can't get to Darrington up that way.
Do you realize how much far sound can travel up there?
No, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying that they don't exist or anything. There's just always the possibility that it's somebody else going.
You have to give that mundane. It's the same thing as with doing a ghost investigation. You have to look for the mundane of possibilities first.
Oh, I agree. I do. But you're shooting down my exciting tree knock I had. God damn it.
I take Bigfoot with a grain of salt. I'm not sure.
That's sick. You're not supposed to eat it.
It tastes too gamey. And then of course you got where we did have a Bigfoot, and I saw the trail that he made. Ran through our and you've seen the blackberry bushes next to our house. A bear's not going to run through that in 2 legs after a rooster.
It's a rooster.
And Jeff saw this very tall creature grab the rooster and run back through these blackberries, which are impossible to run through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm at a loss for words right now because right now we have a truck across the street in a pile of blackberry bushes, and there's no trail.
Yeah, how'd that
It's like it dropped.
Huh?
Yeah, it's weird. Right after that big-ass windstorm, all of a sudden we looked outside, and in the neighbor's yard that doesn't belong to
There's an
anybody.
F-250 back there all of a
There's just an
sudden.
F-250 sitting in the
And
middle
he
of the
showed up
yard.
this morning to try and get it out, and he can't.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was weird.
The wind blew the truck into the bushes.
I guess so.
No idea.
Maybe the truck has wings.
It's a possibility.
Flubber.
Oh, God. Let's see. So, has anyone ever smelled Bigfoot? I haven't.
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen some nasty stuff in the woods, but I'm not sure that it was Bigfoot.
So, the description is they smell musky, they smell like a wet dog, a goat. Describe the smell you guys smelled.
For me, we were in the house, and this was, very strong. And it was like a combination of wet dog, sulfur, and rotten meat.
Okay.
And it was almost overpowering. I think we've smelled that twice here. And like I said, I don't think they smell like that all the time if it's them. I think they can release it like a skunk if they want to or something.
That's weird. So, by the way, so Barry, you've got a fan in the chat room saying hi, Sherry Horsick.
You know,
Barry, you still there?
She's still here. Hi, Sherry. How you doing? It's great to have you here. Thank you for coming into S4.
well, okay. So I'm just
know,
wondering, before your smell, did it rain at all, or did the weather change at all, or anything like that before?
No.
No, it was the same as
No,
always.
nothing at all.
Yeah, same thing with mine. And when and I've smelled it a few times, and it seems to be the same smell, and it's very easy for me to go, that's a Bigfoot.
It's definitely not a skunk or something.
No, it's skunks are bad, but man, it's got its own smell to itself, and it is a wet doggish, extremely light on the medium on the softer, and heavy on the rotten meat.
The rotten meat smell.
So and that kind of answers the question, because Izzy's asking, why do you assume it was Bigfoot? Were there other signs? And that is with many Bigfoot experiencers, that is a common denominator with the smell. We've had the smell up in the Baker Lake area with people that have gone up Baker Lake Road, up in that area where Tyler always went. But so
I've been around bears. I've been real close to bears, and they don't smell like that.
No, not at all.
And the deer here all the time, they don't smell like that. The mountain lions, they don't smell.
Have you ever
the
noticed?
Closest thing you can come to is you think that you're in an area where there's a dead body laying there. That's what I can think of. It's like going, wow.
So has there been any other wildlife response to that? I mean, I guess that'd be a hard one to determine. I mean, if you smelled it and you saw a deer at the same time, you could kind of tell that. Otherwise, the chance of you encountering a deer or a bear or something else when you smell a Bigfoot,
Well, if you on that question, I can tell you from my experiences, and I've been in a lot of woods and looking for Bigfoot and seeing Bigfoot and all that good stuff. But I got to tell you that there's an eerie sound that happens. I mean, like, you don't even hear the bugs when he's around.
So not eerie sound, an eerie lack of sound. Eerie
exactly.
Silence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a silence. I mean, it's just silent. And
you think the woods are nice and quiet until they actually go quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that happens up here. It's like they say, the silence was deafening.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're not even in. I mean, it's like I'm not in nature right now. This is in its own realm.
Now, why do you think that is? Do you think it's because the other wildlife is terrified of Bigfoot? Do you think maybe you're in a bubble? So,
it could be that, or it could be something like they claim the Bigfoot radiate like infrasound. Well, maybe that affects all the crickets and bugs and frogs and the birds and everything that's making noise.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just wondering, but do we think Bigfoot himself is a full-out hairy creature, or could he just suck at tanning hides and that's what gives it that rotten smell?
Maybe it was carrying something dead.
Yeah,
that could be too.
Well, I know we've seen them sling deer over their shoulder and carry them off. They have it's extremely interesting creature, but the hard thing about it is where I go with it is that you can the smell is not always there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I kind of like go, okay, is it a defense mechanism for something else?
Kind of like a skunk shooting it out.
Right, right, where maybe a bear was in the area or something else, and Bigfoot didn't want to tangle with it, so he...
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and this odor comes out, and then everything just goes, "Phew, I'm staying away." Because you don't get the odor all the time. I mean, either that or I'm downwind from it, but you always get the silence. You always know that they're there. And then that's why a tree knock and a rock throw and all that stuff, and then the tree branches cracking and breaking around you, just incredible. You just hear it so well that it's amazing. And then some of his yells, and they've said that he can make he's like an ancient Indian. I mean, they make coyote calls, they make bird noises, crows, all of the different things. So there's a lot of different calls that they do. Their growls, their whoops are all different. And I should have
they're great
downloaded
mimics.
this. Yeah. Oh, they're excellent mimics.
And they
Excellent.
There's a
whistle.
group that passes through this area once in a while, and when they do, they hoot at each other. They sound like owls,
Yeah.
but they sound like 900-pound owls.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
we do go
exactly.
off of the alien / Bigfoot thing, then could there be two different like you were saying, there might be some kind of alien that's a Bigfoot type creature, and there might be just the regular Bigfoot type creatures. Well, does maybe one of them smell and one of them not?
Possible.
Yeah, it is possible. I wouldn't say.
I could see
likely,
the alien
but-
one smelling sterile, but yeah.
Well,
From out
that gets into a pretty interesting thing because myself and a friend and I have talked several times about what we call the feet, and they are ancient beings that have been here. They are able to. I'm pretty darn sure that they're able to transfer through parallel universes and so forth. I think they are very real when they're in the third dimensional. I think they can go into other dimensions. I do believe that some of them have been captured and slaved by aliens. I think right now, interesting conversation we had this week was about the Bigfoot being upset at humanity for all the stupidness that they have done and everything else, and they're out looking for some of the odd people that are walking into the woods and doing everything, and they know the difference. They know the good people from the bad people, and I think you're going to see some more different things coming up with that.
You bring since you brought it up. There's an Apache medicine man in Dulce, New Mexico that mentioned to the police chief there that the Bigfoot lives in a parallel world, a world that's parallel to ours, and they can step into our world at will. So if you look at it that way, it would explain the digital patterns. It would explain, and they even had a picture where I can't remember where this was. I think it was in Minnesota. But you could actually see just an arm.
Yes.
So that's an interesting perspective, though.
Well, it is. I've talked to. I had an interview with a gentleman in New Mexico back. Oh gosh, it was maybe 4 years ago. But we were talking about Bigfoot, and he was talking about the way that they can communicate and they can actually respond with your mind, where they are actually could be standing right next to you, but they are invisible to you. Mm-hmm. And then they can have that ability to be able to, if they reach forward or open that up, you may see their arm. You may see that type of stuff because they're almost like they're cloaked in a way. Mm-hmm. Kind of like some of the, what we call, the old wolvers and those things. They're cloaked unless they want you to see them.
I heard an interesting theory, and believe me, it's just a theory, but that the giants that they talk about are the same thing as a Bigfoot. That they are one and the same. And we used to talk about them all the time, and we used to live with them, we used to do things with them. And then through hunting and through us calling them like demons and all kinds of stuff, they went and they lived on their own in the woods and became their own people.
Well, I think that as far as back as the giants go and everything else, you may be correct, but they didn't deal with the humans in that manner. They dealt more with the natives and the other things, and the natives had great respect for them because they're buried in
like
in some of their mounds.
Stuff.
Exactly. So they had an incredible respect for them. The giants that we've seen here, could they be Nephilim? Possibly. But if it is, Bigfoot has 2 rows of teeth. His head is big enough and his jaw span is big enough to put my head in. So that's a pretty massive creature. Yeah, those are the things that I have seen on and read about giants. All the things.
I'm just saying, like they would be about. They'd be about the appropriate size, height-wise. And their feet would be about the appropriate size. Mm-hmm. Now, if you just added fur to that, it would look like a Sasquatch. Right?
Yes. Yeah, it could be. It could be.
And if you are used to living outside, well, then through evolution and everything, through thousands of years, you would develop a thick fur to be able to keep alive.
Well, I think probably that they did, because if you follow that theory, then they came through the bridge up there out of the Arctic area in Russia, and came through that landmass and then down into this area. So they were already used to having fur, because they had to have some way to be able to keep themselves warm. I don't think, and I've never seen one wearing a deer skin.
Well, it's also a known fact that species adapt to their environment.
Absolutely.
True.
So if you look at it from that perspective, he comes across the land gap, it's colder here. The next generations following are going to be furrier and furrier. Yeah.
But if that's true, then why do we have what we call the skunk ape in Florida, where it is hot, he's furry, it's hairy. Same thing that you see him in other areas. I think that one drawing in Pennsylvania that we were at, I've got a picture, but it's kind of rough. It's not. People say, well, that could be Paradilla, but I don't think so. I just know how the area was when I took the picture and what it looked like, a Bigfoot actually pulling a tree limb over him, kind of like to disguise himself when I was in the area. But his face looks very human, in fact,
Well, in 100 years, maybe we'll have a naked swamp ape.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Well, and if we're going off of that, then wouldn't the Bigfoot alien connection potentially be that supposedly these giant people came around because of the fact that aliens mated with humans, making a whole new race of people.
Well, that's the hybrids we see today. But that's a whole other show.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because I grapple really hard with the alien Bigfoot side. I really do. Personally, I believe aliens are abducted like humans are. That's just my personal opinion.
You mean Bigfoots are abducted like humans?
Yeah.
Bigfoot is not
are
abducting aliens.
Yeah.
He's not probing anybody.
no.
Yeah.
Bigfoots are being abducted by aliens like they abduct humans.
Yeah.
That's just
I think
that's my personal opinion. It's been my opinion for a few years now.
in my opinion, also, because they're both interdimensional. So does that mean that they are worked over and then their DNA is changed so they are more? I keep on remembering this case that we had in Kentucky, and it was up in northern Kentucky, and it was a very odd case because this guy was out in the woods and he saw an alien go into like a tree, and the tree opened up and the alien went into it, and the tree closed, and it was the alien was looking at him. And then all of a sudden, a Bigfoot and a large lizard creature with some kind of rod, preferably a Joe Pointy Stick. But, also came there. And it seemed like the lizard wanted to do harm to him, and the Bigfoot said, no, let him go. And the next thing you know, he's walking out of the woods 4 hours later.
Huh. See, now that's getting into the Stranger Things realm where trees just decide to eat people, and that freaks me out.
I saw that in Stranger Things. Yeah. That was a Stranger Things episode. And that went to the underworld, or the upside down. There we go. Yeah.
I don't want to end up in there.
Yeah.
Freaky.
Yeah. The upside down world. Hey, that reminds me, later on tonight, we got to talk about the black goo. Have you heard anything more about the black goo up there?
No.
Nuh-uh.
Okay. All right. Well, there goes that. Let's get back to the Squatches.
So I'm confused, though. So what you're saying is the Bigfoot was working with the reptilian?
Or against him, is what it more said.
No, I think that they are. I think they're enslaved by them and working with them. Huh. I don't think that Bigfoot.
But the
is very
Bigfoot but the Bigfoot told the reptilian not to harm the alien, or the alien told the reptilian not to harm the Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot told the reptilian not to harm the human.
The human, okay.
It was like they were all there. He sees the alien goes up, and then the next thing you know, there's a Bigfoot and a lizard reptilian, and
right.
That's where, and we know how lizards feel about humans, so...
we feel
Saying
the
that
same
poor
way.
human, he's got 3 different species fighting over who gets to take him home.
I hate reptilians.
Yeah.
Dang.
Okay, let's talk about So we're actually coming close to the top of the first hour already. Let's talk interdimensional. So what brings on the interdimensional theory? So to me, the interdimensional theory is, again, because of the footprints disappearing. It's because cameras are blurry. You have too many cases where game cams will be set up, and again, the camera goes white. Before the camera goes white, you'll see deer, you'll see coyote, you'll see the normal wildlife. The camera goes white, but you can still hear volume. And when the creature leaves, the camera goes back to normal. That's not normal behavior for a camera. That's not
Right.
That's not camera difficulties. That is environmental influence on the camera. because of the fact that the camera goes back to normal.
Yeah.
And Joe, you've got your experience where the camera was so defunct the company didn't even know what was wrong with it.
Yeah, I sent it back to Browning, and they looked through it, and they sent me back letters that says, we have no idea what happened to this camera. We've never seen it. We can't even reproduce it. We don't know what's going on here, and they gave me a brand new camera.
Right. That's not normal behavior. Something influenced it. Something broke it. That's not natural, obviously, even coming from the company. So unfortunately, I've never caught a Bigfoot or had a Bigfoot near our game cams. We've only set them up once so far. We caught a fairy in one, and we caught a pheasant looking at the camera on the other. But we're just going up to the wrong areas. We need more. We only have 2 game cams. We need to get more, which is part of the reason we're doing a fundraiser, so we can actually start getting more equipment. And
it's funny with game cams. I noticed that a lot of things went to the blackout game cams. Before there was blackout, all there was the infrared light, and you could see the infrared light go out. Before they came out with the blackout, that blacks out that infrared light and cuts it down a little bit, because so many people were saying that Bigfoot had the ability to be able to see IR. And he would sneak around the camera. That's why there are so many shoulder shots or whatever coming from the backside or wherever. I did see, we had a camera out in the location, and I did catch something that was about 7.5 feet tall that was standing behind a tree, leaning out, kind of like looking towards the cam. And then the next shot, there was nothing there.
Right.
It was very, very strange. But odd photo. Very, very strange photo. But that's the way that it is. Everything that we've ever seen, I've seen very close-up covers of a reddish-brown, furry type, hairy creature type thing. Not deer, not anything like that. Doesn't look like a deer, but it is longer hair in game cams. But I think it's kind of like one of the things that if you are spiritual in a higher realm, I think that Bigfoot understands that you're not a threat to him. You could even carry a weapon to protect yourself from other things in the woods, which is a smart idea. But I would never brandish one on a Bigfoot or ever even think about using it. I think that, and they're aware of that. Each person's own spiritual ability in their being, and that's why I think that a lot of the natives think that they were supernatural. A supernatural guardian of the earth and the woodlands. That was one of the things that they were very keen on. All the Native Americans regarded him as a supernatural being.
And, I completely agree. I do think they're supernatural in that regard as well. Reading people, reading energy is what it would boil down to. Not even the people, but the energy of the people.
Yes.
If you go up there with the intention of harming a Bigfoot, I think they know that. One of the times the first time I heard Bigfoot knocks, we were actually deer hunting again, and I had my rifle. So obviously I'm armed. But he still knocked. So I agree, and I think it's stupid for anyone that goes up in the mountains or up in the woods not to be armed, or at least with a knife.
I'd prefer to be armed.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. So the other thing is no body. So let's talk about that for a second, because you don't find an animal body too often. whether it's deer. Because, predators come in, they tear apart, the bones get scattered, whatnot. Because the skeptics always say, "Wow, there's never a Bigfoot body." Well, no. Look at elephants. Elephants take their dead to an elephant burial. What if Bigfoot does the same thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're an intelligent creature. They've shown to be an intelligent creature. Whether it's an animal or an interdimensional or a supernatural creature, either way, they've shown signs of communication.
When it comes to that, though, I always think about the mountain gorilla. And I think about the fact that up until not too long ago, the mountain gorilla was a cryptid. Nobody believed it actually existed. Nobody had seen their bones. Nobody had seen their fur. Nobody had seen anything until they found them and went, "Hey, there they are."
Is that the silverback, or is this something different?
Well, it's the same way with the panda, same way with everything. The panda was...
Yeah, it is something different. It's the
the silverback is just an old mountain gorilla.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. The pandas were the same way. I mean, people would see them in the woods, and if it was rainy or whatever, they looked horrendous, and they made odd noises, and people were scared to death of them.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, go out on a nice day, and they're sitting there chewing on a bamboo sprout, and look at the nice cuddly thing out there. And but beforehand, they were terrified of the panda, and it was a myth at a point.
Well, we know, like for instance, like giant squids obviously exist, but we've never
For forever, they didn't believe them.
And look at the platypus. The first person to send a platypus back, they were like, "What is this thing? Nice job."
Yeah.
I can't even see the tooling marks. Like.
I've heard some of these strange things. I mean, I've heard stuff about MK Ultra, the Bigfoots in the northeast area. It could be experiments that were coming through. What's that? Yeah, Plum Island, Montauk, all that area. Yeah, but I'm more along the lines of believing it's the other way. And it's almost like I know it is because of their spirituality, I think.
And going on that route, if anything was a lab creature, I would say chupacabra. I mean,
yeah,
honestly.
Okay, and if a Bigfoot is so hard for like aliens to capture, okay, if it was more difficult than we are, well, if you saw a dead one laying around, wouldn't you be like, "Oh, hey, here's our chance," and suck it up? I mean,
I don't truly believe that it's more difficult for them to capture.
No, not for aliens.
But I really think it might be a little hard for them to hold.
Not for aliens. They can freeze you. I mean,
right.
It didn't work
Yeah,
on Travis Walton.
Froze who?
Travis Walton.
Yeah.
He woke up. What happens if a Bigfoot wakes up?
that's gonna be.
That's
scary.
when we see the lights in the sky. And it's
That's
shaking all
what
over
happened
the
to
place.
Roswell.
Yeah.
Roswell, they captured a Bigfoot, and Roswell.
And that's why people think that Bigfoot
Is an alien.
is an alien.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we have a couple of minutes here.
Well,
With that, you have too many cases. You don't hear it too often, but you hear the cases where I saw a flying saucer landed in the woods, and Bigfoot got out, and he picked up some rocks and some water, and he went back in the craft, and the craft took off.
Yeah.
You don't hear that too often, though. You don't hear it often enough.
but if you don't know,
It kind of makes sense, though. It does make sense. Look, the aliens, from all reports, they're kind of little spindly guys that you can knock them over with a feather, right?
Uh-huh.
So what if they get a couple guys, they get a couple of Bigfoot, and they say, "Hey, look, you guys want to work for us? Fine. Okay, we're going to land in this area. It's kind of dangerous. They got bears, they got mountain lions. We want you to go out and collect some stuff and then bring it back to us." That's possible.
It is.
I've even heard the theory that they use them like security. They land it in an area and send several out, in a big circle around the thing just to keep everything away.
Mm-hmm.
And
for a long time,
intergalactic security.
Yeah. In the UFO field, the activity related to Bigfoot is very common. It's, if you see a UFO, chances are you may hear a Bigfoot or see a Bigfoot. Now, whether Bigfoot's coming to drive off the alien, who knows?
Yeah.
But some people believe that he was actually from another planet. The aliens seeded him on this Earth, and he has special powers in that way. It was like an alien pet or a zoo monster that they let loose here.
Yeah.
And who knows? I mean, that's part of the thing. It's one of those things that you get into every once in a while with certain people. And then the other thing about it is what we talked about is Bigfoot actually a older human, in an older race, and the reason why they test the hairs and they test all that stuff, and they may find out same thing with aliens. Why is it there's human DNA in it? Well, maybe it's because human DNA is in everything because they're part of us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we say that with the Greys, okay, that they can take a form in your head like of an owl or of something like that.
Yeah, they can do screen masking where they can appear like an owl or in a deer, only because they can't hide the eyes. So they have large eyes.
What if, for instance, the ones that they decided to become like a Bigfoot look, and that's the ones you see that are going back in the ship?
I don't. That's always possible, but again, the Bigfoot doesn't have the proper eyes to hide the eyes.
Right, but most of the time when you see one of them, you see the back of them or the side of them or the...
This is true.
And even if you did see the big eyes, you don't know that a Bigfoot doesn't have giant eyes to start with, so nobody would question it as being like a gray. They'd say, hey, there was a Bigfoot in my yard.
Oh, if I saw those eyes on a Bigfoot, I'd be questioning it. I'd be like, what the hell is with that freaky look?
Yeah. The Bigfoot that I saw did not have large eye shields or anything like that on it. Not at all.
What about if the aliens are leaving behind specimens of a Bigfoot as guinea pigs to test out our environment for long-term survival for them? And then that's when they might... Yeah.
Right. Well, that's part of the thing.
We'll get to that in a minute. We have to go to a break, and we'll come back. We'll carry on this conversation because I want to jump in on another topic with that.
We'll be right back.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
with your host, Eric Cooper.
And welcome back to S4 as we are talking about the Bigfoot alien connection tonight. We started off the show talking about Bigfoot in general, what kind of evidence we actually know. And now we're getting into a little more of the alien side with it. So, Arnold, you were talking about...
What, like the aliens bringing specimens like of Bigfoot down as guinea pigs to test our environment for long-term survival.
Now, my point with that, and that's a possibility, but personally I think the cattle mutilations are what they're doing with that.
Well, what if the Bigfoot himself is the one doing the cattle mutilations?
How would you explain the cattle being raised up in the sky and dropped?
Well, if he's got wings.
Yeah.
Bigfoot have wings and carry lasers.
Oh, yeah.
God.
That is one
No, that's
scary
Mothman. The Mothman.
With Arnold's analogy there, I can get with it, but it goes. I'll take it a step further.
Okay.
Suppose that they did drop him off here as an experiment, and there are crafts continually observing and watching. And is that the reason why when humans get near him or we watch the tracks and we trace the tracks, then all of a sudden they pull him out of the area immediately?
That could be.
You know, and then they put him back in when it's safe, or they put him somewhere else. They transport him to a different area.
Well, you know, there's been stories, and I'm talking like Bible stories and ancient text stories and everything, about a race of different type of beings called like the Watchers or the, you know, so...
Oh, yeah, the Watchers have been around
maybe.
forever,
What
yeah.
Bible did you read?
The Book of
Well,
Enoch.
there's the oldest story that's ever been written was the Epic of Gilgamesh. He was a hero back in Babylon, and all of his stories there. His companion was a 9-foot-tall, hairy wild man, they called him.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the oldest story on Earth, and boom, there he is, Bigfoot, once again.
Right.
David
And I like your idea about that, them leaving, like, say, a scientist behind. What if it's an environmental suit that they're using? I believe R. Keith Andrews says that there are native Bigfoot that run around in the woods, but there are also some from ships that are actually environmental suits. You know, if you're going to leave someone behind, you're going to leave one of the little skinny gray guys behind. Everything would eat it.
Yeah.
But if you got something big and hairy walking through the woods, it's going to be protected, right?
So...
Underneath that environmental suit, there are 3 aliens on top.
Takes 3 aliens
gray.
to one of Bigfoot.
Kind of like the 3
And a
Stooges.
squid.
Yeah.
Didn't they
how
do
many-
something like that in Men in Black with the little tiny one that lived in the human suit?
Uh-huh.
Exactly. There you go.
How many grays does it take to operate Bigfoot?
26.
3, but they have to want to operate it.
Yeah. Right. There's 3 grays and a
You don't want to
reptilian.
be at the bottom.
Oh, God. That sounds like a sitcom, 3 Grays and a Reptilian.
Coming soon on Netflix.
Good job, guys. Now we're not getting any royalties for that.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're going to be watching that. Well, we better get the screenplay out real quick.
Oh, I got you.
Well, there is a new show on where an alien crashes in Colorado
That was
and
Roswell.
takes on the persona of a doctor.
The resident
And he looks
alien.
human to everybody.
Resident Alien, yeah.
Wasn't
That's
that,
the one.
wasn't that Doogie Howser? Oh, wait. Oh. So, my argument with that is, how do you explain the cases, and these cases run rampant, and that's where you'll go into an area and Bigfoot warns you with rocks.
Yes.
So if
I've had little pebbles thrown at me, like thumb-sized pebbles, just sitting out here, and I the raccoons, yeah, they got little hands, but they don't have arms.
They don't
you know?
throw rocks.
to chuck something but it's just kind of like letting, you know, I'm here, leave me alone.
Right.
Or maybe maybe they want me to get up and do something. I don't know.
So
Well,
maybe
They don't have TV. Maybe I'm their entertainment.
They're like, let's freak them out.
maybe these are the
Right.
cases where the aliens can't get to them to get them out, and so they have to throw rocks at you to warn you away. You know,
Or-
That's possible.
that's a possibility.
What about
Right.
what?
Well,
And it on this site, Eric. What about if they are the aliens are bringing them back because they're criminal entities being deposited here on Earth as a form of deportation, cosmic deportation, to get them out?
We are the
Prison
Australians.
planet.
oh,
Yeah.
Okay, whoa.
Oh, don't piss off our
Yeah.
Australian listeners now.
Hey, no.
yeah.
Yeah, what are you saying about the people of Australia?
Oh my god. Stop it.
Why don't you stick that foot a little farther in your mouth?
Well,
It's a Bigfoot.
so, you know, there's two different sides to that. You have the ones where, you know, there was the one guy who was up doing nature photography, and he noticed a rock landed about 10 feet from him, and he was like, whatever. It fell, you know, rolled off the cliff, whatever. And so he ignored it, and about 5 minutes later, another rock landed, about 5 feet from him, and he's like, well, that's kind of weird. He's like, whatever, you got to do better than that, until the next big rock landed right at his feet, and that's when he left.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have the other ones where they actually do it playfully. Like in your case, Joe, I think, you know, the little pebbles, those are playful. You know, again, when Tyler went out, once they got to know him, and he explained to me that you have to go out to the same area every day for like 2 or 3 months, and then they will actually start coming out and showing themselves, and they do toss rocks at you. But it's a game. It's in play.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's probably there might be 3 or 4 of them. They see Joe come out and they go, "Hey, it's time to see who can get the closest rock to Joe."
Right. We do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like you said, they get habituated to it. If you're in the same area, I mean, I'm sitting in my yard right now. I'm out in the woods,
Right.
Yeah. Right.
and they've seen me out here for decades. If they're
Right.
watching,
They know you.
Yeah.
Right.
You live there.
yeah,
Oh, you.
And they know you're harmless.
they know I might be one of them.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're a 9-foot bearded guy. You look like Bigfoot.
Yeah,
But
Maybe they're hitting on you, Joe. They want to mate.
well,
Careful, I don't know if
it
you
has been a long lockdown, you know. Haven't been to town lately.
That's a whole lot of woman.
Yeah. Wow.
oh yeah, wow.
Hubba hubba.
Yeah. A
And
new
that-
species. Can you just imagine? Oh,
and
golly.
that's the whooping noise you hear. The whoop whoop.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat calls. Wow, wow.
Kayla needed to take a nap today, and so she threw on episode of Ancient Aliens. They actually did a Bigfoot and the alien connection.
Did they?
They did, but it was really weird.
So, but they actually talk about a Russian scientist in the early 1900s
Okay.
who did an experiment where he tried to impregnate
Bigfoot.
female apes with human
Okay.
semen.
That was a Russian scientist in the 1930s trying to make
Yes.
a super soldier.
And then he was shut down after all of the female apes died. So then he got shut down by the government, and then he started doing it again without their permission, and tried to impregnate female humans with ape DNA.
Like, seriously, Doctor,
Like,
Island
it's-
of Dr. Monroe shit. Like, it was
Yeah,
weird.
and before anything could happen, the government came in and he was tried and banished.
Excommunicated.
Yeah, out of the country. And
So
Well,
what
back
was-
in the 30s in Russia, a lot of people just disappeared.
well, they probably still do today. But
So he moved to Germany and then came on Project Paperclip.
absolutely,
Yeah, you know. And then
Now he's living outside of
continued
Austin, Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Now he runs CERN. Come on.
With some really hairy-looking kids.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So, on what was Ancient Aliens' verdict about Bigfoot and aliens?
I don't know. They had Linda Moulton Howe, and I stopped listening.
Oh, okay.
So,
I got you.
sorry.
Oh, God.
No, it was same crap, different day. Like,
What?
they didn't even really touch on the actual connection.
Oh,
They just questioned
okay.
everything
Okay.
and left it open.
Well, there's that disease. There is a disease. No.
Ancient alien disease?
Where humans grow hair on their face
Oh,
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
across
yeah,
their
yeah, I
chest
got it.
and their
Yeah.
back and everything else. So if you had a small community of people that were larger people that had this disease, well, it's hereditary too. Mm-hmm. So if you are within this group of people and you all have it, then all of your kids are going to have it and all of their kids are going to have it.
Yeah,
And
there's
back
a
in the
lot
good old
about
days,
it.
those people probably would have been driven out of the villages.
Right, so,
So
they'd be living
they
in a
had to
cave
go live in the
somewhere or
woods.
something.
Those were the
Small
original
population, they all get it.
the original wild men or the feral humans could have been, and at that point, but that's more tied to lycanthropy and werewolves, not towards the Bigfoots, because most of them are extremely smaller, less muscular in character than a Bigfoot would be.
And I'm just saying, there's been a lot of cases throughout history where they would take anybody that was born with any kind of defect, and they would
Put them in the circus.
no, they would discommunicate them. They would send them out into the woods to die, or they would put them in this area. And then if enough people that had a version of giantism, a version of this thing that makes you grow, you would have a whole new race of people through genetic issues.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it's just like the Kentucky Blue people.
Exactly.
It's the same
Yeah,
same
those
type of
Kentucky Blue
thing.
guys.
Yeah, and there are very odd things that are around this world that we still don't have a handle on, and you're going to find it no matter where it is. So what does that what does that mean there?
Yeah.
Well, and if you got that too, and that a human only uses X amount of capacity of their brain, but we have this whole brain in there that's capable of doing things that we have no idea what we can do. Mm-hmm. So if you have a group of people that have never been told they can't, you don't know what kind of stuff they could unlock.
Yeah, have you ever seen the movie
like you brought
Lucy
up about
before?
the experiments done in Russia. Well, who's to say that those ever stopped? You just put it perfect. If they can do something, there's no one there to tell them they can't.
No.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I was thinking weird crossbreeding programs possibility. Isn't there something new that people have been seeing that doesn't go back in history so much? It's the Dogman.
Right.
Now, what's to say that wasn't some type of experiment that went wrong and the things got out, and now they're out in the world, and they sure as hell aren't going to stand up and say, "We did it. Sorry."
Yeah, Dogman's only really hit mainstream paranormal
recently.
Last 20 years.
It's very recent. And it seems like it's always around Pennsylvania, Ohio, in that area.
Right.
It's in Wisconsin and everything else,
Yeah.
And it's in Tennessee, Kentucky. But the funny thing about it is that again, if you go back into history and you talk about the Wolvers and you talk about those kind of ancient beings and mystical beings, those go back forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah, that's right. You got all the mystical beings and things have been around for a long time, but Dogmen are only recent.
Yeah.
The last 20, 30 years, people have been seeing them, and that's it.
Well,
And I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff going on in the 70s and 80s that we don't know about.
Yeah, but
Same with Goat Man. I mean, you don't even hear anything about Goat Man, but I've heard 2 or 3 cases of a Goat Man.
Oh yeah, we have been, and
I heard about some rubber boots with Goat Man.
there is a sheep squatch. There's a sheep squatch.
Sheep squatch. Oh my god! Okay, I want to see a sheep squatch.
It's got a ram head, everything else, and it's got a really bad disposition. Same thing like in West Virginia.
That one's in Kentucky too.
Yes.
There's something wrong with your state, man.
Yeah, I live here. But,
that's why you live there.
The crazy thing about it is in West Virginia, you've got different things also, because you've got the Yahoo, you've got different types of Bigfoot, leaping, Lenny, you've got all different kinds of different types of a Bigfoot creature. But the Yahoo is a darker, colored beast, and looks totally different a little bit from that. But he is a very aggressive, and he throws trees and will move you out an area really quickly. And he has got a scream that his name, why they named him Yahoo, is because it sounds like he's saying his name. His
all I can think of with that is the Yahoo commercial going Yahoo. Yeah.
Yeah, but and I've actually heard it, and it is something that you really it freezes you in your step, and you go, "Wow, I'm in deep trouble."
Oh. What's that? I watched a video. I don't know how it jumped into my Bigfoot videos, but it was. I can't remember the name of it now for the life of me. But it's a thing in the Louisiana swamps.
Rougarou.
Rougarou. Oh my God, that's now most of these don't creep me out. The Rougarou, now that one creeps me out. I've got to admit, that one's kind of creepy. Have you guys ever looked into the Rougarou?
It's a dog man with a French accent.
It was a dog man with a very nasty disposition compared to the normal dog man you hear about.
Right. Exactly. There's so many different opportunities to find. I mean, what's amazing in this country, the people who don't get out, they stay around their city, and they do that. But when you happen to get out into the areas of like West Virginia, Kentucky, Washington, all that area, there is so much place that you can actually, when you walk into it, you start to think, has anybody else ever been here before?
Oh, there's a lot of places.
That's like that around here.
Yeah, and no human's been
right.
to.
Yeah. And so there are so many areas. There may be stuff out there that's 10 times worse than a Rougarou.
Oh yeah.
But so you just got to be out there. But that's the only bad problem about it is that's when you get into the 411 type of cases. Yeah. You're in these areas. You're by caves. And okay, good woodsman or whatever gets out and you're there. I mean, I've been in southern Ohio before, and golly, you could follow a stream a little ways, and if you're not watching out what you're doing, you could fall right off a cliff and go down, 100 feet or farther without even blinking an eye and be at the bottom of a ravine.
Well, there goes Bob. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on the orbs? Let's jump onto the orb discussion. We've had them here. And these aren't your normal little tiny orbs. These are like basketball sized. The reports I've seen, they're a green light. Sometimes a blue light, sometimes a clear light.
Even a goldish light or an orangish light, golden orange.
And they're not in the sky. They're actually maneuvering around through the woods at 7, 8, 9 feet high. Mm-hmm. And shortly after, a Bigfoot appears.
Okay, well, okay, I'm gonna just throw this. So, if a Bigfoot is as smart or smarter than a human being, wouldn't they have their own versions of technology as well? Maybe that's one of their drones. They send it out, they're looking around with it.
That's possible.
Or maybe he's just like we are going, hey,
What the hell's that?
well, what the hell?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm going to go over there and take a look at this. Because they are different. And, after doing some research and reading and having some different people on the show and talking about these orbs that we see in the paranormal and also going in around trees and in the wooded areas, are they transport crafts or are they anything? Because, I've actually heard and had stories told to me about people who have seen an alien and then next see an orb.
Right.
And it will be in and around the trees, and the next thing you know, it comes up and it goes into the sky and disappears. So is that a personal craft? And then you also have the cases with Patrick Jackson and Steve Colburn, who spent all the time with Lear. It's pretty interesting because he actually had looked at an orb and did an experiment on an orb that was in Mexico, and was a round size, larger than a basketball, beach ball type size, and it was solid, and it had the same characteristics before it crashed and was able to be found by the farmer.
And somehow became a weather balloon. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. But see, it was transparent. It had the ability to do it, and we've all seen the pictures of orbs around crop circles, making a crop circle even, so what are those things? I don't think that they're related to Bigfoot. I think that they are definitely alien crafts. They could be out actually doing like a probe, doing experiments, and picking things up and taking them back. I don't know, but I do know that it is some kind of, from talking to Steve Colburn, and he's into the nanotechnology and everything else now. It's definitely had plasmic energy to it. The thing was definitely plasmic, and it did crash, and it did a lot of damage when the energy was released. I think I told you guys on the show once before that it actually did kill a cow 100 yards away with the plasmic energy of it. Yeah, the plasma force of it. And the only reason why he could be able to take a sample of it and look at this was because one area of it was weakened by the fire where they're being burnt. And that's the area you got, or he couldn't even cut it. He couldn't even do anything with it to get it to cut.
I have always thought of orbs as being more of a surveillance type drone.
Right.
Where, like, if we're exploring a new planet, what do? We drop a camera onto the planet, and we see what we can see. So I think it is just a more technologically advanced drone that comes
I'll agree with that.
Looks around and goes, hey, what is that? What is this? Let's take some pictures of this stuff. Let's take some samples of this or that, and then let's go back and figure out what we grabbed.
So do you think...
We have a probe that we just sent to Mars. It should be landing in a week or two. I don't know the exact date. It's a new probe, just like this Voyager and Surveyor or whatever that's on there now. Mm-hmm. And the new one is going to have drones on it. Mm-hmm. And they're going to take off and fly around and look at stuff. So if we're doing it, Why can't they?
Right, and they've probably been doing it for so many more generations and years and everything else than we have, that they would be up in the technology to where it would look entirely different than something
absolutely.
we'd have.
But do you think the appearance of a Bigfoot is coincidence, or do you think Bigfoot is related to the orb sightings?
I think the orb sightings are related to the Bigfoot, because I think that just like when we go, hey, what is that kind of rock, and we pick it up from the moon and we bring it back here, they would go, hey, what is that type of creature, and release some to try to see it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the Bigfoot, I don't think they're like sending out drones. I think they're looking at them just like we are, saying, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because when we
Or
do
else
a play
those
day,
are the, or possibly they may be going out saying, last time we saw one of those, Joe went missing, Bigfoot Joe went missing, and then we can't have that. So we're protecting our own by going out to look at it, because they may have an extreme hatred toward it.
That means Bigfoot's watching out for humans.
well, the thing that
Right.
I think is like when we
Well,
explore...
that goes back to the idea of the Green Man and being a protector of the woodlands, so forth, like that.
And see that's so not Green Man per se, but the same concept. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. Is I do believe he's a guardian of the wilderness. You don't hear too many cases of a Bigfoot in the city, in the urban area. Mm-hmm. I think he sticks to the wilderness because, well, that's his domain. He can.
I'd like to drop his nobility down just a little bit. I don't think it's so much he's guarding the planet. I think he's guarding where he lives.
Right.
From everything. It's not some noble, godlike thing. I'm going to protect all the woodland creatures and the animals and the trees from these bad humans. I think they're just saying, hey, don't come near my house.
Right.
Don't step on my lawn.
Yep.
Yeah,
Stay
get off my
grass.
lawn.
Stay off the grass. Stay off the grass.
So
Pine needles.
So if the Bigfoot, I'll call it the good Bigfoot, is out there protecting us or looking over us, what is the one that comes in with hellhounds that is so mean, I would say, that when I've been out with Native American and stuff and pretty much been told, yeah, let's leave the area, it's not good here and stuff like that. What are those?
Those are Bigfoots that are tired of our shit. And they're like, you know what? If you're going to kill yourselves off, we're not going to protect you anymore. Screw it.
Yeah, that's what.
Isn't it possible? I mean, there's people on this panel that you believe that people can be possessed, right? Well, who says Bigfoot can't be possessed?
Oh, damn.
Mm-hmm.
And you get in a tank like that, and you're some evil entity controlling a big monster. You're just like, yeah, let's go wreak some havoc.
No, but so the story that Arnold was told, there are two types of Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. One's got hellhounds. Now, on that concept, and that's what's interesting too, is because up here in Devil's Tower, I know a couple people that went up to Devil's Tower, and they actually felt like there was a Bigfoot following them, but there was also a dog-like creature that was with the Bigfoot. I've heard stories vaguely related to what you're talking about, Arnold. And if I remember right, the Bigfoot with the hellhounds is black, correct?
Yeah, and he comes with dogs. Yes, hellhounds.
Yeah.
Well, do we definitely know that they're hellhounds, or do we just think that maybe the Bigfoot adopted a coyote puppy or a wolf puppy or something? I mean, supposedly the stories, it was back near Barrie somewhere where the little kid disappeared, and he said the big furry bear took care of me for 3 days.
Right.
Well, it shows that they might have some compassion, and if they have compassion, they might look, oh, a puppy, pick it up and they raise it. There you go. Mm-hmm. Bigfoot with dogs.
Right, give him some McKinsey or some, It's possible.
Well, you know, we know some of the Bigfoot up here follow coyote packs. Again, going
They're
back,
after the same game.
right. Well, the coyotes move where the food is.
Right.
So there's one theory that yes, the Bigfoot do migrate. I don't completely agree with that because you still have Bigfoot in like Lake Taiyi area through the winter. So not all of them migrate. Maybe if they have families, they migrate because the kids need the food. You know, going on that thought process.
Are we thinking then, like, in your guys' opinions, is a Bigfoot an omnivore, a herbivore? What do you think he is? Like a carnivore?
I think omnivore.
I think they pretty much eat anything they can, just like us.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I'd say omnivore. They eat everything.
Yeah, the surprising thing is they found out that a lot of the bears that did a study in Yellowstone, and surprisingly, a large part of their diet is moths and butterflies. They eat them off of trees.
Mm-hmm.
That's something nobody ever thought about.
Moss
Moths and
Yeah.
butterflies.
man.
Moths, butterflies, things like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a study and they did, and I can't cite it. I wish I could.
So has anyone heard of the stories of Bigfoot abducting humans?
No.
Well, there's always been stories about that.
About that, yes.
Natives
Yeah.
have tons of stories like that.
Yeah, and also there's the thing about the famous one about like a wild man boy, the Jocko case.
Jocko. Yep.
Yeah, Jocko, which could have been a Bigfoot that was captured.
Weren't a bunch of railroad guys found him?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was in the 1800s, I think it was.
Right.
Late
Yeah.
1800s. Late
Yep.
1800s. Yep.
But the question is, was he really abducted, or did Bigfoot take care of a lost or missing kid?
Might or was he actually a
Juvenile Bigfoot.
juvenile Bigfoot that was captured by them or lost, and they took care of him, and then went from that aspect.
Well, I mean, you got stories like this throughout history, too. You got from Mowgli to Tarzan. I mean, like,
Right.
where some creature took in another creature and raised them as their own or helped them or whatever it is. So, I don't know. I think it's a possibility either way.
Yeah, definitely.
Horses will adopt animals.
Right.
If you know it's been around horses, so certain horses will have a certain dog that they like to be around all the time, or even a duck.
Right.
So, you know, it's the way it works.
Because you hear the flip
Sure.
side of that, like, and we've talked about this on the show before about the 3-year-old that went missing in, I believe, North Carolina,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
described a bear. Well, bears don't take care of kids that eat them.
Right.
Oh.
So you know,
Right.
it was
Well, plus the time
Bigfoot
that he
and-
supposedly went missing was like right during her hibernation season, so the bear
Right.
wouldn't even really be out there.
no.
True. Right.
So you know, a Bigfoot found a missing kid, brought him back home.
Right.
You know, brought him back to camp, whatever the case is.
And that
Yeah.
shows compassion, right?
Yep. So
For other
that-
beings. They protected a kid. They might raise a wolf puppy. Who knows?
That's why I have a hard
Well,
time with the Bigfoot abduction side because, but every Bigfoot's different.
Well, not only that, but I mean, if
There
you
are
think
people
about
that will abduct
there's-
you. Why not?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's where I was
Well,
going to
yeah,
go.
you know,
Is
it's not only that. Maybe they are abducting the certain kind of person that is the trouble that would be seen or found. Same thing with the dogs. It makes sense to me. One of the things that we always, you know, when we used to deer hunt, we used to push deer. We put people out in the field, and we would have them walk, and we'd have 2 guys on point. Well, wouldn't it make sense if Bigfoot, he doesn't have to abide by any rules, wouldn't dogs have treed and all kinds of stuff? I mean, it's illegal to use dogs in hunting in all states now, but Bigfoot doesn't know that. It would be ideal thing for him. And then what's going to happen to the scraps? What's going to happen to the other stuff if he's using a coyote, if he's using anything like that? And we've seen and heard coyote and Bigfoot together, so they do kind of run close together. So it kind of makes sense with us because Bigfoot's going to have friends. I mean, a dog or anything like that is going to want, if you feed him, take care of him, that's why we have domestic dogs. Maybe it's a domestic, Bigfoot can do the same thing.
Right.
So it's that kind of thing with me. That at least that's the way that I look at it, the way that I see it. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong by looking at it that way. But I don't know what the rest of the chat room thinks, or some of the, or you guys are thinking about it.
And I mean, I've said it a million times on different species and different races and stuff, which is there's good, there's bad, there's evil, there's kind in all races of everything. So who's to say that Bigfoot will be exactly the same? I mean, there's got to be some good ones.
Right.
There's got to be some bad ones.
We said that with aliens before
exactly.
too.
Right.
Stephen Greer even jumped into the whole Bigfoot alien thing in one video. It was a pretty well done documentary. So universal consciousness, I get it, but is it really smart to sit here and channel an alien that you don't know who is, or what is, or Murphy's Law? Murphy's Law comes to mind.
Right.
You play stupid games, you're going to get stupid prizes.
Okay,
I don't deal with Murphy's Law. I deal with coleslaw.
Yeah.
Coleslaw. Okay.
Thinly sliced
I love coleslaw.
Are we having coleslaw at the Super Bowl party?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is I think of that just like I would think of like going on the internet. Are you going to go on the internet and you're going to give everybody in the world your address and tell them where to find you and what days you're home and what days you're not?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm going to give them my money.
Right, no. Exactly.
Why would you go into a universal consciousness?
That's why
and say,
let's get 50
hey, everybody in this galaxy.
Yeah, let's
this
get
is exactly
50
where we
people
live. Yeah,
to go on this mountaintop and we're going to channel a UFO. We don't know what race it is. We don't know what they're going to do.
Truthfully, isn't that the first thing we did?
They're wonderful.
Absolutely, it is.
What?
We sent out radio probe stating, like, with every piece of information in our history. So, like, we already did that.
I know.
Yeah.
Friend, I'm
okay
with it.
These are
That
individuals.
just reminds me of the scene from the movie Independence Day, the people on the rooftop with all the signs of welcome aliens right before they get blasted.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And I laugh every time I see it. But
you're never gonna make friends unless you get yourself out there.
No, I'm gonna be the one in the motorhome going, oh, screw this, or I'm gonna be hauling ass. No, hell no, no, bye bye. Lock and load.
I've got another idea for you with these devil dogs, and we had a case that was up by Mammoth Cave. Lady had a cave opening right behind her house, had a lot of problems there and everything else, and they had been seeing what we would consider to be a devil dog or a hellhound, and also a Bigfoot. So if Bigfoot was living in a cave or around that area or took shelter underneath the ground there, wouldn't it be interesting to see that he would have a pet that would guard him from having any disturbances while he was there?
I mean,
Makes perfect sense.
Do you think that Bigfoot rides horses?
No, but he braids their tail. Ask Joe.
Definitely braids the mane. I've had it happen several times up here.
Yeah.
I go out and I mean, it's pretty intricate braid too. It's not a tangle or something like that. But every once in a while, I'd go out there and Casey's mane would be braided.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, who's out here in the woods braiding my horse's mane?
Well, with the amount of hair a Bigfoot has, they've got to be pretty good at braiding. You would think.
I don't know. Has anyone ever encountered a Bigfoot with a braided hair?
Not that I know of. But you know the funny thing about it is that when
I don't think their hair's long enough.
He's a
Bigfoot with
look at
cornrows?
I want to see a Rastafarian Bigfoot.
they are
Isn't that
actually.
Predator? I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, have you ever seen in Ohio by Salt Fork up there? They have seen so many weaved areas, like a hut that has a bedding area in it in some of the state forests. And Salt Fork was one of the first places that found a structure like that. It was kind of a weaved structure.
Well, yeah, they weave logs together to make their huts.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there's no way that they could have just fallen that way.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, and it's the same way with the bush and everything else. They will get in a real bushy area, and they will entwine all the stuff so it makes a canopy for them.
And that reminds me of another video I watched here a couple of years ago about these two hikers that went up, and they found it, a 10, 15 foot tall intertwined log hut. And these people aren't armed. They're hikers. They got at best a fanny pack, and they smell death. And they're still going to go check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They both wound up screaming and running away because Bigfoot was chasing them all the way down the mountain.
Hey, I saw the movie Blair Witch. Up there with a house. And, what's this got these weird sticks to weave together?
Oh.
No,
But
I'm going to bring up something that's a little taboo here for a second. But do you think, like right now we're in the middle of a pandemic, do you think that it's something that Bigfoot could catch and have sightings gone up or down since that's happened?
I think they're good enough at social distancing; they don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
I don't think Bigfoot's going to worry
if-
about it. I think there's more and more people going up in the woods because that's their chance of getting, Just think of when Washington State first opened up a little bit and started telling people, well, you can now leave your house and go up and go hiking. And
Yeah,
more
we
and
had
more
people everywhere.
We have people
everywhere.
coming up here hiking all over the place, and we had 2 or 3 people getting lost. Go home. Go to Hillcrest Park.
Right.
There you go. Go find a park to go hiking in. You don't need to come up in the mountains and getting lost and hurt. And then we got more resources we got to use to find you.
So with that though, I mean, like, has anybody noticed a spike or a decrease in sightings?
I think it stayed the same.
Stayed about the same.
Yeah. I haven't seen a whole lot of new videos coming out. I mean, not any more than it comes out all the time anyway.
Yeah.
When it comes to searching for Bigfoot.
And do you think that maybe, and I would direct this one towards Arnold, that some of our national parks and some of our different parks and stuff were set up to be habitats for specific, like Bigfoot and stuff, and that's why we close off certain areas and we don't do certain things in them.
Totally agree. Just with parks I've worked in and stuff, to close off areas that you could go into and stuff and be at, and then for no real reason, there's parks that are close by where I've been at that I know I've had Bigfoot at and stuff, so there's people that go out. I mean, there's been people out of the last park I worked at. There's a lady that no longer around, but she'd never walked the trail again with her husband because of what she possibly saw or felt up there and stuff. The trail didn't get shut down because it was about the only trail we had in the park at that one, but other ones, if there's something happened, they shut things down. They close things off until things can get adjusted, I'll say, to where they can let people back in.
So how many sightings do you think the state parks get? Or how many reports?
I'm not sure because, and I'll kind of refer back to something else other than Bigfoot. One of the last parks I worked at, I know that somebody found mammoth tusks sticking out of the mud on a hillside.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Was that in Ellensburg area?
Hey.
Like over in Teanaway?
Nope. It's in Great Harbor County. It's in Great Harbor County.
Gotcha.
But the state just said, no, it's not. And they supposedly had someone come out from the UW and no, it's not. Just leave it there. But I'm going to guarantee you that somewhere down the road, that when that hillside goes sloughing off more, there's probably going to find something that they should have taken out a long time ago. Mm-hmm. That's why when you talk about people saying, Bigfoot sightings, you're probably not going to hear so much in state park or the national parks. They'll say, okay, and then they'll say, hey, we'll close that off till we can go out there. I've personally been out on trails where I've had large limbs thrown at me and stuff like that. It's just, you talk about it, but it's like, who do you talk to in your area? Because you don't want the whole place to go and be shut down. I mean, you see in state parks, they see a cougar go through the place. All these signs go up. Hey, there's a cougar, there's this, there's that. I could just imagine them putting a sign up.
Beware of Bigfoot, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And, honestly, and we've discussed this on the show before, too. If we actually found a Bigfoot, would I say, yes, I have a Bigfoot on in such and such mountain? No. I don't think I would, because then I have every Tom, Dick, and Harry coming up here. And
Exactly.
we don't need that.
I hate Tom.
I do too. Dick and Harry.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But, now when it comes to finding the evidence, where do you even take it? And that's one of my long-term goals for us to actually have our own DNA lab. So we can actually run our own DNA evidence. We don't have to go rely on a government lab or even a private lab. Can you imagine taking a hair sample to say LabCorp or something, asking them to? No. Can you imagine the?
Oh no, you'd have to walk it through.
You gotta send
You'd have
it
to
to
walk it
23andMe. Like all those DNA sites. Figure out what it is.
So,
Tell me my lineage.
No,
I bet you'd have somebody show up at your door.
You've got that dilemma, and I don't trust the. You get to that paranormal dilemma where I've had enough encounters with BFRO, for example, that I don't trust a lot of the big organizations because all they want is ego. Yes. And they've proven enough already. They falsify anything they get.
Right.
So
that's part of the producers for their shows and stuff like that, and that's where they want to keep people watching TV, and so it becomes more and more. But that's the bad thing about it is even in the UFO field and some of the things that we have collected and gotten from places and sending it to a lab, I never get it back. I did a case a year ago or about a year and a half ago in Illinois, and we set off quite a lot of stuff. I did great grid work and put a grid up and took a lot of samples and had some fluorescent stuff we scraped into a tube and sent it off and addressed it, made it look like a birthday gift so that it would get there so nobody would, but inside that package were, sealed evidence bags and everything else. And if you're looking for this kind of stuff, Aero Forensic is a great place to find some interesting stuff. Now, when you get to the big heavy-duty equipment, it is extremely expensive, but they do have it to be able to set up your own lab. I mean, you'd almost have to have a grant to be able to get some of that stuff. But I never see it. I've got stuff in my drawer here that I shouldn't even say that. Never mind. I know somebody that has some. I know somebody that has some.
DNA or alien blood.
Yeah, and you don't even want to. You can't send it out. You know, you cannot.
Well, hopefully in the next 10 years we can change that. I'll be in my 60s by then, but yeah, hopefully we can figure something out to where we have our own lab. Real quick, I want to address, Dennis, we talked about that earlier. Dennis brought up the article about the Bigfoot hunting season in Oklahoma. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's pathetic.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
To be fair,
criminal.
They do have an overpopulation down there.
Okay? Of Bigfoot?
Yeah, if you go into the Senate room of theirs for the state.
Right.
Okay, this is for all the people in Oklahoma. They have shaved. So everything that you see in the Senate, just go take a couple shots, you'll get some.
Oh,
I
Jesus
promise.
Christ.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God.
The strange thing about that is that I would go out on a limb right now and say that I mentioned that Foot may be on the war path with certain humans, and those are the type of people that I'd almost go out to say that you're going to see a lot of missing people in Oklahoma.
Yep. Oh, there's going to be a lot of accidental shootings. There's going to be a lot of missing people. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the
I tell you what,
if you're a human being, you're going to be careful because
that's what I say. Okay,
you get on state land and that kind of stuff. People shoot at anything that moves.
Yep. Well, not to mention, and we've talked about this a lot. The fact that you got every Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to go run out in the woods because they watch Mountain Monsters and they watch this show and that show and never mind, folks. These people have a paramedic and they have wilderness survival trainers and all kinds of people in the background that aren't seen on the camera. So you can run up there with your little khaki shorts and sneakers and fanny pack all you want, and your big gun that you think you know how to shoot, and think you're going to get a Bigfoot, and you're going to break an ankle or get lost or whatever because you don't go prepared.
Exactly.
Or you're not trained. You need to train on survival skills. You need to train on hiking.
But that's what I said. How many guys in ghillie suits are going to get shot?
A lot.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
And just
if you're hunting in a ghillie suit, you have issues. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up too.
They do it. I mean,
you really think Bigfoot's not going to see you in a ghillie suit? You're stupid. Anyway,
right,
on that
exactly.
note, you are stupid. I said it.
Yeah.
But are you just going to take that?
I guess so.
She's nailing it. But anyway, it's time for our last break of the show, and we'll come back. We'll wrap it all up for the last hour. And what do you think? Bigfoot? Is he an alien or is he Bigfoot?
We'll be right back.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
Break. You're going down.
host, Eric Cooper.
There.
All right, welcome back to S4 for the last hour tonight as we're talking about aliens and Bigfoot and is there a connection? So, yeah, no, you're right, Joe. I wouldn't, if I had a cup of coffee with Bigfoot, I probably wouldn't tell nobody. I might take a selfie with him and I'd post it, but I wouldn't tell him where he was. I wouldn't post it where he was. Hell no.
Well, that's what happened to me.
They don't need to come my backyard.
Had a line of Bigfoot tracks across the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Took a bunch of pictures of them, and I sent them to Coast to Coast. This is about 15 years ago.
Right.
And they had them on their front page for like 2 days.
Damn.
And I was sitting here, and about a week later, my phone rings. I pick it up, and it's one of the local TV stations out of Sacramento. This guy saying, "Hey, I saw your photos on Coast to Coast, and I'd like to come up and do an interview and check it out and bring the cameras and everything." I said, "Well, how the hell did you get my number?" It was the first thing, and then I said, "Okay, well, you can come up here and you can look at the area and you can shoot there, but I don't want anybody to know exactly where you are."
Right.
And he said, "Well, no, we're going to have to tell people." I said, "Well, then you can stay in Sacramento.
Right.
Don't bother coming."
Right.
And then it kind of makes you figure out, like, when how'd you get my number? How'd you get all this other stuff? And are you really a TV guy and not someone else that's
right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a simple fact. Don't tell anybody exactly where you're at. And he said, "No, we're going to have to." I said, "No, well, then you ain't showing up."
Yeah.
You'd have so many lines of tourists hanging out at your bunker. No way.
No, you're going to be the
setting off all my bear traps, and
you're going to have the Big Joe pointy stick tourist trap. That's what you're going to have.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
And do Bigfoot tours, and hey, you can make a killing doing that, couldn't you?
The sad part is that's what most people think with this stuff. They think, okay, you know what? I'm going to send this into this guy. This guy's going to get a hold of me, and then I'm going to sell souvenirs, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give him this, and that's all they're looking for.
That's what they think in the whole paranormal community.
Don't you think that happens? Don't you think that happens with some of these hotels and places that say, "Oh, we're haunted. Come on by. We're haunted," and then, "Oh, you want to do a ghost tour? Okay, well, it's going to cost you so much money, and if you want to rent the whole place out, it costs this." It sounds like more of a money-making thing than anything else.
And that's about 80% of your new paranormal teams that come up is, we're going to be on TV, just like Jack Baggins. Yeah, no, you're not. Good luck with that.
Well, everybody's looking to make the quick dollar. And if they think that it's in paranormal, if they think that it's in anything, they're going to make up whatever they need to make up to make you think that something is something so that they can make their dollar off of it. It's the way the world works, unfortunately.
So, what's your thoughts when it comes to public perception? Do you think you're going to get laughed at for a Bigfoot sighting, for saying you saw a UFO or you're an alien abductee, or for saying you have a haunted house? Which one gets laughed at the most?
I don't
Probably
think
the
most
alien.
of them do anymore.
Alien abductees.
Oh, yeah, abductee gets laughed at all the time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, abductees get laughed at. Then
if you tell someone you've seen a Bigfoot, the first question out of their mouth is where.
Yeah,
not you're nuts.
Right.
It's like, where'd you see it? Tell me about it.
You know, it's amazing. It's amazing even locally up here. If I get recognized in town, for example, by some random stranger, I don't know half of them. I know their names, but not what they look like. The first thing they'll say is, "I saw a Bigfoot over," and like, so I guess I'm getting known as a Bigfoot guy. But whatever. But you know, about 6 out of 10 people up here have a Bigfoot story. Mm-hmm. You will find that.
Right.
And they're willing to share them. Where
they didn't used to be. They didn't used to be.
They're willing to share them as a conversation.
Yeah. Not as
a
I actually saw one, put me on the air.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
they don't want. They don't want to come on S4. Mm-hmm. They'll tell you the story. They'll tell you where they might have seen it, heard it, whatever. But that's as far as it goes. Now we do have a few of them that actually want to come up Bigfoot when we go up. Mm-hmm. And you know, again, that's a matter of vetting them. We're gonna have a barbecue this summer and meet these people and figure out, you know, what's your motive. what's your background? Things of that nature. Before we just take random strangers up.
Oh, yeah, you don't want
We'll
no
go
shoot
Bigfoot.
happy person hanging out with you. And you're like, no, thank you.
Shoot happy, knife happy.
Shoot
It
happy.
doesn't matter. I don't want a crazy person up there with me.
No.
Like, you don't.
All right, I'm not going. Gotcha.
Yeah. Especially with your ghillie suit, damn it.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no.
Oh, come on, I gotta hide for the cave people. Oh, see 'em.
Oh. So, what's your thoughts? After all this discussion for the last 2 hours, do you think Bigfoot's an alien? Do you think there's a connection?
I think there's definitely a connection
I
between
think
the
there
two.
is as much of a connection as there is to us versus an ant. It's a creature to them. I think that's it. I think it's just another creature that they're studying just like us.
Bigfoot to the aliens?
Well, aliens are
to the
studying
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Okay.
Aliens to Bigfoot are the same as aliens to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And
Yes.
to honestly, in my opinion, we are the main creature of this planet, but we are just another creature.
So Bigfoot's being abducted like we are.
Probably,
Yeah, I think so.
Probably not probed as much, but yeah.
I'm still laughing at the whole thought of a Bigfoot waking up on a spacecraft going, "Oh hell no!" Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Grace, can Grace
Maybe that's why the
relate to
spaceships
this
crash once in a while.
Right.
yeah.
I'm with that.
Well, yeah, it could be. It could be. It's funny when you talk about Bigfoot and you talk about evidence for Bigfoot and everything else, and I can't not leave out the Yeti when we're talking about this because over in Tibet, is the Yeti a similar thing because is it a Bigfoot creature?
Right. So the Yeti's in India, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And the Yahweh,
it's Tibet.
it's the
Yeah.
Yahweh
Nepal.
in Australia.
Yeah.
Nepal. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah,
the Aborigines. The Aborigines were in Australia. Were talking about the Yahweh for centuries before, were they not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Much
and
like
then-
the Native Americans here were talking about.
Yeah, the
Bigfoot,
Wowie or
Sasquatch in
Yowie.
Canada.
Yeah.
Hairy man.
Hairy man, yeah. Well, that's
Hairy
what
man.
I'm
You almost got
saying.
to throw Australia out, though, because everything there will kill you. It's like another planet.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
You're
is there...
just trying to
okay.
piss off our Australian listeners, ain't
No, they know that's true.
you? I know.
So they can't really be mad about that.
Has anybody heard of a lemur foot? Like a Bigfoot that looks like a lemur instead? Like from Madagascar area? Has there ever been anything over there like that? Any sightings of anything?
No.
Are we just throwing out random crap now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was interesting.
I'm not looking up lemur
Where,
foot. Sorry.
where did you hear this? Because, if you heard it,
Lemur
then you
foot.
have the story.
No, I've never heard of a lemur foot. I'm just wondering.
What the hell?
Is there such a thing
salamander
as a...
foot. Yeah.
Instead
waiting
of being
for the
12
rake
inches
foot.
tall, it's 14.
What?
The lemur foot.
He's 14 inches
and
tall.
now, and
Instead of
the
being 12.
Taylor, have you seen a...
A lemur foot? No.
Uh,
I haven't seen a lemur
a
here.
rake foot yet? Have you
Rake
seen
foot?
a rake foot yet? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, is
The
that a
hairy
some
rake
crossbred
man.
between a rake and a Bigfoot? It's a
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
So real quick, getting back to the orbs in the woods. Who's to say those aren't fairies? Who's to say those aren't part of the Fey realm?
Well, the fairies.
Fey realm.
Well,
Yeah.
when you talk about Faye, you talk about you're bringing in a whole different aspect because you're talking about the ancient ones, what I consider to be the ancient ones, stuff that has been poo-pooed by people over the years, but are really truly there and have been active for forever. And there's all kinds of spirits and beings like that are still out here and still roaming around, and people just don't realize it, just don't know about it.
And that's why I like to bring them up often on the show, because a lot of paranormal teams, and I was just talking about this last night with another paranormal team, actually, that, so many teams run out there to investigate, and what they call a spirit oftentimes is actually fae.
Mm-hmm. True.
But if you don't recognize the aspect that there is a fae world, that it does intermingle with this plane all the time, there's a lot more to paranormal than just ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk into someone's home, you don't know what you're walking into. You know that from the case you did last night.
Right,
but,
exactly.
Not everything's paranormal. There's mundane, but there's a whole lot of aspects to the paranormal that are more than just a spirit that you're trying to communicate with, a demon or some other malevolent entity. That's just a very, very small piece of the paranormal pie.
Right, you're 100% right. You can't put it into that ghost or spirit. It is totally different. It's its own.
Well,
category.
The signs and symptoms are very similar.
Exactly.
I've got things missing off my dresser, or I've got orbs, or I've got the sparkle in the corner of my eye. Well, that tells me fae. Whereas this one that got all their education off paranormal TV is going, oh, you've got a spirit in your home. No, look at the big picture.
Right.
Look at the big picture and look at the root of the problem. That's what that's what everyone's missing, is you got to look at the root. Why is it there?
Yeah. We've had cases that there's been water spirits, and that's a fae. That is, those type things are not, never been human, never have been, but they are, can get into a home, can do some really nasty things, and cause people a lot of problems.
This is one of the reasons why I laugh when everybody says that humans are the main creature on Earth. You have no idea if that's the truth.
No.
Nope.
Oh, God.
We have no idea what's in the water past a couple of 100 feet. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
we don't know what the main creature is.
We're the center of the universe. No, actually, we're finding we're not.
I am.
Right.
Are you?
What you're finding, what we find more and more is that humanity is disliked by a lot of different spirits because of the way that they have, even the paranormal teams. There are entities out here that have problems with, they don't talk to them. They come out and they want to get rid of them. They want to do those kind of things. And, sometimes you can have a parlay with a spirit or a fae or anything to find out what they need and what they need to do. But the humans are hated more by those species, the fae, the Bigfoot, and everything else, because of the stupid things that humans will do. Mm-hmm. They have become that way.
It goes back to the whole shoot first, ask questions later concept.
No,
Exactly.
I think it even goes a little deeper than that. I think it goes to the concept of we've always seemed to think that we're top of the food chain, that we're number one, that we are everything.
Right.
And we never took into account that there could be something smarter than us. There could be something stronger than us. There could be something that is more populous than us. And we just can't see it. Spectrums of lights or different things.
Bigfoot's higher on the food chain than we are.
Right. But see, as humans, we all have that arrogance about us.
Right.
It's like we're top of the line. We got anything that comes at us, we got you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's really weird, but you get the people that are in the paranormal, or you get the people that are even our clients. They can have that attitude until it happens to them, and then they are the most fearful. Fear takes over.
Well,
and a lot of times that's the worst thing to have, because they love the emotional things when they get an upper hand on you.
That's the fastest way to turn a skeptic into a believer, is to have something happen to them.
Right, exactly. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of things out there that are known that are higher on the food chain than we are. You know, you got bears, you got mountain lions, the wolves,
Right.
sharks with lasers on their heads.
Yes.
Laser shark. Love it.
That's Sharknado.
Sharknado, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Sharknado.
But, you know,
Yeah, something out there is eating great white sharks.
did you
Ooh,
see
that's
that
Megalodon.
too? I mean,
That's
that
Megalodon.
What? No,
that-
that's a killer whale.
No, that's Megalodon.
I got news for you. It could be a killer. It could be a killer whale, but boy, I've never seen anything go after a shark in that way. Where, jeez,
Just bite them in half.
yeah, just
That's Megalodon.
yeah.
Megalodon.
Yep.
You're just a kraken.
Or the
The
U.S. Navy.
Leviathan.
U.S.
Well,
Navy.
yeah, the Kraken is back. You know, and,
Or a really angry Poseidon.
and that's one of the things.
I mean, you never know.
You know, as humanity, we need to look at these things that are, as we do things to the earth and as things happen, and as we talk about, you know, you hear a lot about religion and all the other stuff, but, you know, look, there's different things out here that are also in this realm that will fight and work and do things, and they are very mighty. And, you know, hey, you don't want to wake up a Kraken, that's for sure.
No, I like Dennis's comment. Laser sharks. Great concept for a Fast B movie.
Yeah.
Done.
That's U.S. No,
Yeah.
that's the Navy. The Navy created laser sharks, and that's what's killing the sharks now. Yep.
Right.
And they release them in the storm clouds when
Yeah.
they, you know, turn on CERN and all these other things,
Yeah.
right? Oh my God.
Oh.
Well, on the continent of Africa, the one thing that kills more people every year than anything else is a hippo. Who would have thought that?
Right.
Hippos are freaking scary, dude.
Those, yeah.
Hippos
Yeah, they are.
terrifying.
Yeah.
No.
I would rather run into any other creature than a hippo. Hippos will rip your ass apart. They're
Uh-huh.
evil.
Well, this
Yep.
is kind of one of the things that I remember seeing at a zoo one time. It was an outside zoo. And I'll never forget watching a hippo. They had a pole in the middle of this thing, like a telephone pole. And I was like going, what the hell is that for? And this hippo came out and was walking around and was standing about 30 feet from that pole, and it took a piss, and that pole almost bent over. I went, oh.
That's a way to mark the hell out of your territory.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like going, whoo.
Oh,
Yeah.
scary hippo.
Yeah. Don't like hippos. Plus, you know, the weird thing about hippos is they can be underwater, too.
Yeah, they can. But not for
Yeah.
a long period of time or they drowned.
No, but still they can be in the water.
Yeah. Oh. Hippos are freaky. There's all kinds of weird
So-
things like that, though. Like, there's a certain type of ants that can just eat you alive. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well,
So
if
I
you've
have
ever
some-
getting around, if you've ever been around far ants before, they'll feel like they're eating you alive.
Right?
Yeah, far
So
ants.
I have some
gosh.
new information that we're watching, and that might have new things happening for state parks wise. I don't know if any of you have heard, but the Navy SEALs have been given the okay to start training in some of our state parks. So that might,
I said weird. Okay.
yeah.
That doesn't
So-
surprise me.
Training would be a good cover for a group going in trying to eradicate, well, let's say, I don't know, something like Bigfoot.
Yeah. Well, you know,
But yeah,
it's one of the-
they just got approved to go in.
So, the Navy SEALs have actually been on a small scale, because it sounds like you're talking about a larger scale.
Yeah.
Like you know, SEAL Team 6, SEAL Team 1, that kind of deal. But they've been coming up in the North Cascades for a number of years. You know, just as like maybe a weekend camping trip / training exercise. That's how my uncle got his parachute, because my uncle does his hunting camp twice a year, and they went up to here in London, Hamilton, and there was a Humvee sitting there, and it was a Navy SEAL team that was actually training, and they didn't want to take their parachute down that they had over their entire camp, and they told my uncle, you can have it, and he got to keep their parachute.
Nice.
But it does sound like they're basically just opening it up on a larger scale. But
yeah,
we have the range.
28.
Go ahead.
There's 28 state parks that they'll be training in.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, here in
Now,
Kentucky,
that's
you've got
just in Washington?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
here in Kentucky, you've got Daniel Boone National Forest, and that has got more military in it than you can shake a stick at.
Right.
You know. So.
Getting to the government hiding Bigfoot side, what would be their benefit? Why does the government want to keep Bigfoot secret? When we've discussed this briefly in the last couple of years on the show, is it monetary? If you think about it, if they say yes, there's Bigfoot, one, you're gonna have more people coming out looking for them. Two, it might cut into the logging industry.
Look what the spotted owl did.
Absolutely.
The logging industry.
Right.
But why else? Do you think the government knows about Bigfoot and there's some kind of connection there?
That's like asking if the government know about aliens.
Well, we know that.
So it's the same way. They know about giants. They know about Bigfoot. So I am sure that there is a large cover-up in so many different things because it does not set with their agenda. Their agenda is in social conditioning to get you to believe in certain things. Same thing with the Catholic Church, all the other different types of stuff. Golly, there is so much different attitudes. I mean, ever since the Council of Nicaea, what was that, 462 AD? Everything was all changed and written for their own beliefs. I think that they protect things. I mean, why do they push the fact that Christopher Columbus found America?
Well, and also if we go off of that, though, if we do believe that maybe this could potentially be some experiment, like that thing where they were impregnating apes and seeing what happened, then they wouldn't want to admit that they let that happen.
It's kind of like...
That would be something more like Dogman, because it hasn't been around that long, but Bigfoot's gone back into antiquity.
Too far.
Right.
If the government came out and said Bigfoot exists, you'd have two things happen. Number one, you'd have a large group of people that would say, I'm never leaving the city. I wouldn't go into the woods to save my life. On the other hand, you have another large group of people that would be up there every weekend with their guns shooting anything they see.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Then you'd have us.
Same thing with...
No, you'd be having us going, get the hell out of my woods.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that may be the new thing that they would do if there is a genocide for the world, that the deep state or if whatever they talk about, that would be the great thing to release if there's a Bigfoot, because half the stupid population would be out there with their guns and they would never come back.
Right.
Now, I don't think I want to be on the side of a mad Bigfoot.
To your knowledge, has a Bigfoot ever been seen in a MyLab experience? We know with MyLabs, they see aliens and they see U.S. government personnel, military personnel. Has anyone ever seen a Bigfoot?
To my knowledge, in some of the cases that I've dealt with, no.
Okay.
They have seen military type people. They've seen humans. They've seen everything else, but not a Bigfoot.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure maybe somewhere around it, and probably after 15 people watch this, listen to the show, or a few thousand listen to it, we may be getting some reports of that.
So I do want to do a My Lab show probably in about March or April, just to give you a heads up.
Okay. Okay, great.
Because, alien abduction is common with many people, but you bring up My Lab, they say, what's a My Lab?
Right.
So I think it is a topic that needs to be hit again.
Yeah, it always is. It always is. I'm still waiting for that Antarctica show, too, by the way.
Oh, that's gonna come up in March.
Is it?
So
Okay,
again, next week we aren't doing a show. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Mm-hmm. Everyone, I don't expect a whole lot of people listening because, well, it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Commercials,
so
man. Commercials.
Grab your chips and watch.
Hey, I'm hoping that instead of the Puppy Bowl or the Budweiser Bud Light Bowl, maybe there'll be a Bigfoot Bowl. Big Man, the Bigfoot and Dog Man.
Oh, Bigfoot's got him.
They're gonna do the COVID Bowl.
Yeah.
They have to win. They have to all stay 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Wear 10 masks.
Can you imagine the Cryptid Bowl? You just got a bunch of different guys.
Wouldn't that be great? I mean,
Mothman picks
there'd
it up
be
and takes
penalties
a
on
touchdown.
every play.
Well, it'd be Mothman against Goatman.
He just flies away. Touchdown!
Right.
God.
So, again, the following week, which would be February 14th, we are talking Men in Black. Again, Men in Black goes back to, I believe, the 50s is when the first documented actual Men in Black cases was. Mm-hmm. Maybe you know earlier cases, Barry?
What was the year that you said?
50s.
There has been some cases in the 40s, but most of them are in the 50s. The MIB has been around ever since.
And they still happen today, just in a different level. So we'll be tearing that apart.
That is exactly right. Exactly
on the
right.
14th.
Exactly.
And are they aliens or are they human? We'll dissect that one.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And then we're talking Black-Eyed Children
I'm so excited for that one.
on the 21st.
I'm so excited.
Actually, no. Roundtable's 21st. 28th is going to be Black-Eyed
Ah,
Children.
dang it. Okay.
Black-Eyed
Black-eyed babies.
David Weatherly did a great job with that. And, I talked with him about it for a while, and interesting subject, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Just crazy subject.
And then, I do want to bring up Antarctica again, probably in March or April, and my labs. Mm-hmm. And we'll throw other topics in the middle of it, obviously, but those are a couple of topics I want to hit on.
Anymore, there's so many great topics, and who knows what's going to be coming out and what's going to be released, because as we go through this year, it seems like this is going to be the time of more humans being shocked by stuff that will be coming out if it gets to come out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, pray tell, what's coming up? Is there anything you can talk about?
No, not yet.
Okay. Damn it.
Oh, man.
So what are we talking on Into the Fire this week?
Oh, Into the Fire this week we've got a great show. We've got The Fearless Ones, and that is Stephen McDougal.
Doogie!
Yes, Doogie. And he's on. They've got a new team with Jason Hale and Jeremy Lane. Just a great bunch of fellows, and they're going to be doing an event at the Octagon Hall coming up, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what else they're doing. They're just super people. They're really, I always have a great time with them, and really enjoy interviewing them. They're just super.
Nice.
Excellent. And where can our listeners find Into the Fire?
Into the Fire, that's a good question. We got so far in there, we got burnt. No. Into the Fire is on Para House. At this time, it's on Para House on Facebook, Para House TV. We go live on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And the week after, we have Chris Garcia. So looking forward to seeing Chris again. Having him on.
Good deal, good deal.
And thank you for plugging in. I appreciate it very much.
Excellent. So, yeah, we're coming down to
Half
hour.
Half an hour.
So I want to talk about gifting sites real quick, because for folks that haven't heard of a gifting site.
Well, that's a good one.
If you know of a Bigfoot hotspot, it's called a gifting site. And you go up to this hotspot that you know you found tracks. There's been Bigfoot reports, things of that nature. They love shiny stuff. So some people will actually take old CDs. We don't listen to CDs too much anymore. Some people do. But everyone just gets music on MP3 anymore. But if you have old CDs that you don't listen to, hang them from a tree branch.
There's a lot of people that hang bottles, different colored bottles.
Different colored bottles.
Might get a fingerprint that way.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's, yeah. Evidence.
People have gift garlic.
But I want to talk about evidence collection real quick, because I know you have an evidence collection kit. We have one. A lot of teams don't think about that, and that's how you get contaminated evidence. So what you want for evidence collection is a pair of sterile tweezers, Ziplocs, or bottles. So you can, and gloves, obviously.
Tubes.
Test tubes work fine. But you don't want to touch the hair. You don't want to, and we have cotton swabs as well, or swabs.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to, collecting scat, when it comes to collecting hair, when it comes to any kind of fluids you might find, you want to get it on a swab and you want to put it in a bottle.
Exactly. And some of the things about evidence collecting is kind of weird because, you have your plastic stuff. You have the bottles. You can use glass, or you can use a plastic, like a petri dish, or I'll say plastic bottle to be able to do it. But also have different size bags,
right?
Paper bags, because some of the evidence you don't want to put in that. Like some of the grass, the scat, you want to put in paper instead of that, and then always have evidence tape where you can date it, where it's from, all that other stuff, so it's sealed. And I mentioned a place earlier, and it's a place that we've gone to. They've got similar kits. They also have the dental bags where you add 6 ounces of water, and you can make wonderful castings and everything else. It's just, you're thinking about forensics, and it's called aeroforensics, and I think it's just aeroforensics.com. You can look for it. And that stuff is not expensive. And one of the things that you really want to do, it's very important, is to have like if you're going to take pictures, have a ruler or something that you can get the size of it.
Compare size to.
Always have scale in your photos.
Yep.
Exactly. Something you can scale to, something that. And, that's one of the hardest things about, I sent a picture of a UFO today. It's just a crop anything, no trees, no nothing, so you can't get a good size of a scale with it. Mm-hmm. But if you are laying down, if you see a Bigfoot track, get a digital photo ruler and lay it next to it, and they're kind of cool. They're cheap as can be, but they're great to have in your evidence kit.
Well, and that's why, people don't think of forensics when they think of paranormal, but forensic, I have forensic companies for catalogs, for equipment.
Yeah.
Because,
Right.
forensics is what we do with some of this when it comes to evidence collection.
Well, you want your
exactly,
slides
100%
too,
right.
just in case it's something small and that you need to contain quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You know, it's very important. I mean, and people have to understand when we do what we do, we have different kinds of equipment we use at different times. So if you're an investigator that is doing all the paranormal, you're going to have 2 or 3 different go bags. You know, you're going to have something that's prepared. So if I'm going on a crypto case, I'm going to grab that. If I'm going on a UFO case, I'm going to grab that to go bag. But some of the same things we have in it in the evidence kit is the same thing. On a haunting,
right,
we use totally different things. We don't, unless we get ectoplasmic goo somewhere. If I had one there last night, I wouldn't have used it if I had thought about it.
Right. No.
But, yeah.
That would have been a completely different, yeah.
Right. But, it's just, yeah. But it's just that kind of thing. You just have to think outside the box just a little bit. It's not anything different, but they are all different, and you need different equipment and different things for each, so.
Absolutely.
And even if you collect some great DNA samples, don't expect the scientific community to jump up and down and say you found a Bigfoot. The most they'll do is say, "Oh, you have a unknown North American ape." Period.
Right, or it's got some other kind of
or a
DNA in it, or it's got human DNA. It's got this in it, or whatever. Because they're never going to tell you.
No,
I think unless you get to the S4 lab in 3 years. So. Hey, and there is a fund me thing, so if anybody's out there that has a lot of money and would like to fund a great lab for S4.
Absolutely. The fundraiser is up in the chat room.
I know my mom's sick of getting scat samples in the mail, so.
Oh, and that address is. Oh, we were joking about that last night. Anyway, back to the gifting site real quick.
Yeah.
They do like shiny stuff, so hang CDs from trees. I've heard marshmallows work, Matchbox cars work. I don't like using food because food can be raccoons, ants, bears. Your normal wildlife's going to come eat the food.
For some reason or another, there's something about garlic. I've known some people that gift garlic.
Huh.
Just to keep the vampires away from them.
Yeah.
It could be, but in fact, it's a strange case, but in Tennessee, there was a lady who was called crazy and everything else, but she was communicating to him. She'd been in the area kind of like Joe has been for a long time, and they would actually come to her house, and they would want garlic, and she'd give them garlic.
On the last break, I went out and took some scraps from a couple of ribeyes I have and the bone and put them out in front of one of my cameras, but I can guarantee you the foxes will get it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You'll get some nice fox pictures.
Oh, yeah.
What's your thoughts on some of these people that claim telepathic communication with Bigfoot?
Well, I'll be
anything's
really
a possibility.
I'm with it. And if you talk to the natives and you go into that way, that is one of the things that the natives do say, that they can telepathically communicate to you. And they make different sounds and make different whoops to do it. Some of the ones, that's why they get their names. They have very unusual names and everything else, because it's all done through a mind meld, almost like.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that works or not, but just in case it does, whenever I hear the 800-pound owls come through the forest here, I always just think, hey, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. You're welcome to pass on through. I'm not going to bother you. I always say that to myself. I don't know if it works or not, but you never know.
Yeah.
Honestly, everyone tries to telepathically communicate with every animal they come into contact with.
Yes.
When you're fishing, you say, "Come on, I just get on the hook."
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Bite the cheese.
Like every animal we come into contact with, we try and telepathically communicate. Why can't it be Bigfoot?
Right.
Absolutely.
Of course, couldn't it be that, like, say you're walking through the woods and you come across, all of a sudden, 30 feet in front of you, there's a Bigfoot. And in your mind, you're hearing, run, 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 you shouldn't be here. Maybe that's just your intuition telling you that rather than the Bigfoot telling you that.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is some have said they have this feeling of fear, or maybe not a voice telling them to run, but they get this, just a sensation that of terror that they need to get out of the woods now.
Mm-hmm.
And
you
think
yeah.
You think
we always have that.
I've walked into bars and had that happen.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't belong here. I'm leaving.
That's what I'm saying. It's
the fear of flight
voice.
is... Well, it's that fear of flight. I mean, it's just the same thing, no matter how... I mean, it's kind of like going... and I'll be honest with you. If you're into the paranormal and you've done everything, there are times when I will turn around and go, sorry, I'm getting out of here.
Yep.
I mean, and it's because it's not feeling right. And if you don't listen to your body, and if you don't listen to your innerness, then you're just an idiot, because it's telling you, it's warning you of something. Mm-hmm. On the other side of the fence, I think that most of the stuff is people's misunderstanding of what it is. I mean, if you were at the end of the thing and there's a Bigfoot standing there, if he has a gigantic tree and he hurls it at me, I'm going to have fear and I'm going to go the other way.
Well, yeah.
If he's got his hand out and wants to shake it, I'm still going to be leery.
Right.
I mean, there's just that kind of stuff. You're going to be like, hey, how you doing, pal?
If he's got his hand out and he wants to shake it, then I'll probably pull out the thermos and say you want some coffee. Just saying.
Right. Hey, do what I do. Offer him some beef jerky.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Perfect for gifting.
Oh, God. You're going to kill him, all the preservatives? Jeez.
No, we make our own.
Okay. So we are months out, but Cole and I were discussing this last week actually. That I think we are going to do another. What?
No.
Let's.
No.
We had a moment of insanity.
You want to do another marathon?
I don't know.
Oh
no, we were talking about doing a marathon for Halloween.
Oh, there you go.
There's a lot of issues with that.
Okay.
The show that week actually is on Halloween, so we'd have quite a few upset kids with us.
Okay.
I don't know how we do that.
We can just call it the
we
monster
tried to be
movie.
kind of good. Well, the kids can come on the
We
show.
could have the kids on the show. My kids are kind of at the point where they don't want to go trick or treat no more. So,
Good for your kids.
Well, they may
Mine
never
doesn't.
have. We may not have trick or treat anymore. Who knows? But
well, they tried that last year.
Yeah.
Even if not, I'm coming home from a party on Saturday.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, okay.
That's a hard part.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we probably won't do it. Never mind, folks. Never mind.
Okay.
Right?
I didn't make the last 24 hours. I only made it like 16 hours.
Hey, we barely made it. So,
We didn't
yeah.
make it. Let's
We
not
didn't
lie.
make
Yeah.
it by that last show. All I was saying was, yeah, could be.
Yeah. I was up 24 hours the day before the show. That was what was rough.
Well, yeah, that was part of the problem. That's why you didn't make it the 24 hours we did the show. Oh,
Yeah, it was a great time, though. It was fun.
it was. It was a great marathon.
Oh, man.
Oh, so on that note, folks, hope you enjoy Super Bowl next weekend. Go Chiefs.
We'll see you on freaking Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Hey, you need your taxes done? Like, bring them to me. Yay.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Yep. Red Rover Tax.
Red Rover
Hey, I
Tax
got a
Service.
tax
Where are you
question for
located?
you.
We're
I've got
located in Cedarwoolley, Washington, but we also have our website, which is www.redrovertaxservice.com, and it has a portal set up to it where you can send us your stuff from anywhere in the U.S.
I hate when people say that. We're located in Cedarwoolley, Washington, so just run up and yell Red Rover. They'll
Okay,
come running.
fine.
Yeah.
817 Metcalf Street.
That's better.
Yep.
There you go. One of the questions I have to ask you about a tax-related question. Great time to do it. Maybe things are doing a little bit different on the West Coast out here, but we're being told that you can't file your taxes until mid-February. We haven't gotten any of the W-2s or anything else like that yet either. So
W-2s are coming in.
Okay, so W-2s are coming out. They still need to come out to you at the same time that they always come out to you.
by the end of January.
They have to have sent them
they
today.
have to have sent them out today is the last day that they have. So they'll be coming anytime in the next couple of days, depending on how long it takes you to get your mail. You can get your 1099 straight off of the unemployment website if you've collected any unemployment. Those should also be coming in the mail if you haven't gotten them already. And as far as for the opening, okay, because the IRS made a big deal about the opening being like February 12th. And then sometimes then there was an announcement about the 15th and all this. You can file them before then. You can bring them to us before then. We can get everything ready. We can get it signed. We can get it put in the queue to send off. But we cannot physically send it off until the 12th. So you can still get everything done as soon as you get all your paperwork in. But the IRS isn't opening for filing until the 12th.
So you can send all your information in, but the tax office, like Red Rover themselves, cannot input or put it in to the IRS until the 12th. But your part would be completely done.
Yes. Your part would be done. It would be just like if it was sitting in queue at the IRS waiting for them to go through it. It's the same deal.
Right.
As always. It just, and you'll get your tax return. It's not going to be that much longer of a wait for the tax return because they did upgrade the systems when they sent out all of those stimulus checks to make it so that it could get to you faster and all that jazz. So you might be waiting maybe a week longer or so than you normally would, but you're going to still get your return. You're still going to get everything going. We just cannot physically send them in until the 12th, but you can file them anytime now.
Well, the other vicious rumor, do you have to declare the stimulus checks?
Yes, you do, but it is not going to affect anything except for if you did not get them. So it's not going to go against you in any way, shape, or form, but if you didn't get them, then they will add that to your return amount.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Really?
Yep.
There also is a new tax across the United States. You can pay it at Forest Moon Paranormal. It looks like a GoFundMe, but it's an actual tax, guys.
Okay,
So.
no.
If you don't, you will go to jail.
Oh my God!
Shut up.
All right. And on that note, folks, thanks for listening. We'll see you in a couple weeks. If you're not watching the Super Bowl next week, you go listen to one of the archives.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Excellent.
So on that note, stay safe. And remember, keep your eyes to the skies.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on S4, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. You can contact S4 through our website at www.s-4radio.com or on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like on our page and join the Forest Moon Paranormal group. If you are interested in advertising, take a look at our packages and contact Cole or Eric at 1-360-999-2830. Again, thank you. And remember, keep your eyes to the sky.